All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome into another episode of Baseball and Coffee. It is Friday, May 15th. Hope everybody's doing great. 10:01 in the morning here in the East Coast. What's up, Grounds crew? Hope everybody's having a great morning so far. Had some good baseball last night. We got a couple good things to check up on today. Let's see what we got popping in the chat. Lots of good mornings. Happy Friday, everyone, says Victoria. Good morning to everybody in the chat. We're just going to get right into it here in a minute here. And I will hop over to the main screen and we will hit the standings. And then we'll get popping on a couple really good pitching performances. Some interesting guys to dig in on. Kyle Harrison's a guy I want to dig on a little bit today. Hitting wise, there's some Ryan O'Hearn stuff that are interesting. Subway Series kicking off tonight. So that's very exciting if you're in the New York area and you're a fan of one of those teams. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, standings. Here we go. May 15th. Tampa Bay, 2 games up on the Yankees, 28-14. 8-2 in their last 10, and they are 10.5 up on the Red Sox, who are pulling up the rear, 18-25 in that division. In the Central, Cleveland, 1 game up on the White Sox, who have won 5 in a row and are over 500. Probably the latest they've been over 500 in many years now, honestly. But that's a tight one. It's tight throughout the whole division. Detroit and Kansas City are both in last. 4.5 back. Kansas City's been disappointing, I have to say. I mean, they've played better at times. But they have not continued it. Yes, I did see this, Eric. Posted in the Discord, which I can grab real quick by our resident right here. I don't know. Are they saying that the sweeper has dropped off in effectiveness in terms of run value the last 3 starts? Because I haven't watched this start yet, so I'm assuming maybe he gets beat on a sweeper early. So I don't know. We're gonna watch Nolan start today, so we'll definitely have some answers. We'll look into some answers for that. All right. In the West, the A's 22-21 game up on the Mariners and the Rangers. Angels are in last in that division, 6.5 back, so a little bit of a spread there. But you know, anybody's division still, I'd say. All right, NL East, the Braves 30-14. They had a rare loss last night with Sale on the mound. They are 9 up on Philly and Washington. They have the best run differential in the game at +91. Mets 18-25. Playing a lot better, though. I think they're 8-3 in their last 11, or maybe even 10-3 in their last 9-3 in their last 12, maybe. I don't know, but they are 7-3 in their last 10, that's for sure. They're still 11.5 back, but they are playing better. They have a little momentum. Let's see if they can keep it going versus the Yankees. In the Central, Cubbies are 2.5 up on the Brewers and Cardinals, 5 up on the Reds. This division's still very tight, very quality. NL West, Dodgers now leapfrog the Padres. They've been going back and forth for a couple days now. Dodgers 26-18. They won the last 2 games in that series versus the Giants, kind of riding the ship a little bit. And the Rockies are pulling up the rear, 9 games back. So I'm going to go here and get into the solo for a minute, answer, see what's going on in the chat, and then we'll hop into some baseball games, if that's all right with everyone. Yeah, three starts feels like a small sample, but the thing about run value is like literally like whatever like runs are scored on, like whatever pitch that is, it's going to tank your run value. So he might have just got hit on a few sweepers recently, but I don't know. We're going to find out. I actually think he did get beat on a sweeper. I want to say not beat, but I think some runs came across the board on him, maybe in Arizona on a sweeper. So, you know, it is a small sample. I would agree with Maya there. What's going on with Jeff Hoffman? I thought he was pitching well. I mean, I haven't seen the last few outings. I thought he had been throwing well in the non-closing role. So if we have time, maybe we can dig into that. I do have a lot on the docket today. I have some prospects I want to look at, a whole bunch of pitchers, a couple hitters, Ryan O'Hearn, Nick Kurtz continues to bang, some other guys. So we'll see what you guys have to say about that as well on your side of things. All right. Just messing around my computer here for a second. Last outing not good for Hoffman. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I get a little tired of like guys having one bad outing out of five and then there's something wrong. It's baseball. The other team is good, unless it's a trend and we're seeing some things like it was earlier when he got removed out of closer, then it's kind of hard to even comment on it too much. When you're managing the Mets, you're still going to accept chat advice and opinions. Unlikely, but hopefully we have a nice long run on here, and I learned so much from the community that I can make better choices and have better opinions out there. So in a way, you'll be managing right along with me when we get to that point. So I heard some talk of some grounds crew merch. Yeah, I'm gonna cook that up a little bit. I can see that there's some desire for that, so I'm gonna try to cook that up a little bit. Hey Adam, who has been the surprise team so far? Probably the Cardinals, right? Cardinals in a rebuild situation. All young guys, youngest roster in the league. Not a lot of brand names on the mound, and yet they're sitting here right now, tied for second place, 25-18 with a positive run differential. So that's probably my my answer to that question. Do you think it's a bad sign that no news about Fried has come out? I don't know if that's positive or not, but not good that he came out of the game and had to go get an MRI and it's elbow related. I know they're saying it's posterior, but that makes you think, it's either inflammation back here, bone spurring, bone chipping, olecranon, stress fracture, stress reaction, a lot of different things that could happen on the posterior side, but it probably won't be Tommy John. But whatever, he's a great player, so we'll see. So we will see. Hire you as your assistant manager. Well, I need to see your resume, sir. Christian Scott, he pitched well yesterday. I definitely talked about him before he ever came back that I thought he was an important factor for the Mets. So glad to see him back. Grounds crew tank for the summer would be unreal. All right. The baseball gods love a full baby rebuild season. Cardinals got good karma. I do think they had to turn it around. What's the go-to coffee spot in Boston? When I was there, there was like one of those Tate places on the corner, Tate like latte. And that my wife used to send me to get little pastries in the morning. I get a coffee from there, but I didn't have a go-to coffee spot in Boston. Honestly, New England, we all know it's Dunkin', right? Dunkin' Donuts, let's be serious. So MRIs are never a good sign. You don't get an MRI for fun. Yeah, but sometimes they come back clean. They're just trying to get as much info as they can, and you can't always get a clean look. Guess Bloom isn't as bad as we thought in Boston. Mets should have went with him over Brody back then. Loveheim, I think he's great. I thought he was scapegoated in Boston. Honestly, a lot of the young players the Red Sox have are from his regime, so happy to see that he's going to get a runway with the Cardinals, with the birds on the bat. Love you too, my love. Love you too. Love you too. Love you too. It's a small franchise. You might have heard them called Starbucks. All right. So let's go back over to our main situation here. What did I say? Well, first, let me just see what I need to look at here on Baseball and Coffee Sorter. All right, here were our top hitters last night. Who won the coffee cups? J.J. Bleday with a 2-home-run day gets him the top score. Randall Grichuk, 4 RBI day for the Sox. And Luke Raley, 2-homer day for the Mariners, get the coffee cups on the batter side. On the pitcher side, Sale, in a losing effort, gets the coffee cups. No earned runs in 6 innings. Zebby Matthews was mentioned in the chat. He also had a tremendous outing, 7 innings, no runs, and his return to starting. I think it's been a while. And then Chase Burns is on the list. But I think where we need to start is with Kyle Harrison today. I want to look at Kyle Harrison first. I know we're going to get to Nolan McLean and all of our usuals. But there's been a lot of talk about Kyle Harrison over the last little while. He's already on his 3rd team. Giants, Red Sox for a little bit, and then traded in the Durbin trade to the Mariners. And he's been pitching really well. He's got a 2.09 ERA. He has not been very efficient. 99 pitches in 5 innings yesterday. But there's been some scuttlebutt. I think that he moved over on the rubber a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and check that if I can. And then from there, We'll watch this outing as we go, and we'll kind of see what we see, what's working. I do think the velo is way back up, which doesn't hurt. Certainly doesn't hurt. He was at 95.7 average fastball yesterday for the Brew Crew and threw 62 of those things. 23 slurves, 13 changeups, 1 sinker. Absolutely, you already know. We'll be watching McLean. He's probably next up after Kyle Harrison today. But I'm on MLB Now today in about 2.5 hours, and we're going to talk Kyle Harrison, so I got to dig in a little bit here, right? All right, so basically a 3-pitch guy, 4-seam slurve changeup, getting plenty of whiff on the fastball. He's been known for a VAA type of guy, like up in the zone fastball type of guy. So let's go ahead and watch this outing, see what we see what we think. Actually, first, before we even do that, let me go over to his Savant page, give you a sense of what we're looking at here. Because one thing jumped out at me big time just glancing through the Savant page yesterday. Well, 2 things. One, the arm angle's up slightly to 33. Not that it's a huge difference. I mean, last season he averaged 27 degrees on his arm angle. But here's something. Last year, his slurve had a -5 run value in limited action. They hit 333 off of it with a 442 WOBA. And then this year, it's a complete opposite situation. 108 batting average, 165 WOBA. Identical whiff rates both years, but in terms of when they're hit and when they're put in play, he's getting much better results on his slurve. So I said, man, what gives? Is there any type of movement difference? And guess what? Not really. This year, he's getting -4 and about 11 at 82, and last year he was getting -3 and 10. So about 1 more inch of depth on the slurve. That's probably, has something to do with the raised arm angle. But yeah, I think we're going to watch it and we're going to see. We're going to see here. We are going to see Harrison or McGreevy rest of season. So I had McGreevy originally on the thumb, and then I decided to pivot to Harrison. Not sure if we'll get to McGreevy yet or not. He's somebody I've been interested in for a while. But I would take Harrison right now because he's got a little more velo. He's left-handed, a little more strikeout in his game, but we'll see. Also, you got to give credit. Chris Hook of the Brewers. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled situation. Who did he face yesterday? He faced the Padres. So Harrison versus the Padres. Brewers, Milwaukee, and San Diego. All right, San Diego and Milwaukee. Brew Crew. Kyle Harrison, 99 pitches, 7 strikeouts. Let's see what we can see and how he gets his out. First batter of the game, Xander Bogaerts. Up in the zone fly ball. That's what he was known for when he first got promoted to the big leagues. No, McGreevy throws right-handed, sir. Incorrect, Ted. He was known as a VAA guy. It's a low release height, and you can kind of see with the stride here and how the back leg works. Hold on, let me get you first base side here. Oh, God. All right, we got to go third base so we can actually see the man. Check out how low he gets here with the back side. Almost dragging the knee on the ground, which means that's going to be a low release height, even with him getting a little bit higher this year. So it should perpetually make his fastball play up in the zone. This is also a little bit of a modern dilemma in that he got called up very young. He's only like 23 years old, Harrison. I have to fact check that in a second. But he was a huge prospect. They were very excited about him when he came up with the Giants. And, he scuffled a little bit in year 2, immediately fell out of favor, had to go for the change of scenery. Red Sox took a flyer. And, now he's with the Brewers, and a lot of people have probably written him off coming into this year. But the reality is he's still a very quality pitcher. All right, here is a strikeout on a 4-seam middle 97 with 17 verts. So I actually think the fastball probably profiles better now, even with the slightly higher arm angle, because he's still going to have below average release height, but now he's going to get more backspin. 17 degrees IVB is plenty. He's got decent extension, above average extension, 6'8". 97 miles an hour is above average. So he's combining a lot of good qualities on this fastball. And you can see that's right down the middle. That's straight down Broadway. And Tatis is way under it. I also think there was a mound move. So just seeing where we are right now, they have him hiked over here on the first base side, toes right up against the end of the rubber. So we'll file that away for later. Harrison is a classic case of a new administration coming in. and dealing someone too soon because he wasn't one of their guys. You know what? I can agree with you, Carl. I actually sort of dealt with that in my time with the Cardinals. You know, I was a Jeff Lunau guy. He was the one who drafted me and signed me as the scouting and farm director at the time. Then he goes to Houston, and I was left with John Mozeliak, who I wasn't one of his guys. So, you know, I was out of there pretty fast at that point. So I think there is a desire for people to have their own guys. And that just sometimes you get caught in the middle of that. All right, there's an 0-2 changeup that Andujar hits. And that's going to be second and third, 2 outs. Changeup's got a ton of drop on it. Holy cow. Negative 8.1. So I'm sure he's probably kicking that, but that's interesting. So let's watch this whole at bat of how he gets out of the first inning. It is Mr. Sheets. First pitch, fastball down. Do I see much deception in his delivery? Yeah, a little bit. Just the way that he gets so low. And I think especially when he's on this side of the... Like, he also gets the ball right behind his head. So I think there's a little moment there where there's some deception. I think this angle's a little weird. As low slot as he is, but being kicked out left. Yeah, maybe a little. Hard to say, but I feel good about it. Wasn't rated highly in the Lunau debate password stealing fiasco, I guess. Yeah.
Second and third, 2-2 the count.
All right, here we go. There's the slurve, which he's had great success with the slurve so far. 2-2. Here's a 97-mile-an-hour heater. And he gets the 3-2, and he's going to get him out on almost a 98-mile-an-hour heater. Middle, just kind of beats him. This is a very nice play at third by Rengifo, by the way, as well, to get him through the first inning. All right, second inning. Strikeout coming here on the slurve to Laureano. I'm wondering if they moved him from right to left on the rubber. I'm going to check that in a minute when I look at one of his last starts with the Red Sox last year. But this would create more of an angle for his slurve to be able to pair with the fastball. Like, he could get all the way to maybe this point, and you still might think it's a fastball. And that's a pretty late commit point when this pitch is going to end up below zone. So this is a nice offering from him for sure. Strikeout of Laureano. Next up, first pitch hit by Castellanos.
Next closest, 46 starts if you're looking at other starting stats. Amazing what this young staff has done. Castellanos dumps one into right field right off the end of the bat.
He looks like he's doing lunges. I used to throw with a front leg like this in college. So there's a hit by Castellanos. Here comes an out by Fermin. Yeah, you have to have a very strong front leg to be able to kind of like pop up out of that long lunge that you're so deep in with so much amplitude there. But I do think that there's something to be said for gaining a little extension like that, and definitely your ball shooting up in the zone. So there's an out on a fastball, and here comes a strikeout on a fastball of Johnson, and there's that up shoot fastball, elevator ball, see you later. So he's through 2. On to the third. Here is Xander again. Fastball in. He's on it, but a little bit jammed. Does that beat him pretty good? 94-1 fly out to Chourio, first out in the third. Now he's pitching with a 6-run lead here. All right, Tatis again. The struggling Fernando Tatis burns him once again with a fastball up. Tatis still without a homer. And some of the other numbers are sort of starting to come back to earth as well. His OPS is not very inspiring. Just off to a tough start. Him and Manny, and as good as their record is, their best 2 hitters have not hit. There's Manny popping up a fastball up as well. So that's going to be the hallmark of his game, is that fastball up, and then that left to right angle that's going to hide the break of the slurve. That's going to be his game. He's going to sprinkle in some changeups, but it's kind of the unique approach angle out of hand on both the slurve and the fastball. And especially now that he has more velo, that's what's going to really play. There's a slurve below the zone, gets the little pop-up. Here's a hit by Sheets, 2-1 count fastball. Kind of jams him, floats it into center. He did face some adversity, gave up some hits in this game, but stuck with it and didn't give up any runs. Here's another hit on 0-2 from Ramon Laureano. Just doesn't get it high enough. Ramon shoots him to right. So now we're going to have a first and third situation with 1 out. Let's watch how he pitches out of this here in the 4th. All right, Castellanos is first up. 4-seam up, that's a take. So you're looking for what here? 6-0 lead. You're just looking for an out. You're actually not even prioritizing that run on third from not scoring. That's a pulled changeup, so he falls behind 2-0. You just want an out, any kind of out here. Obviously, a double play is amazing, but you're not really pitching for that here. You're pitching with what you think will get the hitter out. Shocked he didn't swing at this fastball. 2-0 challenge heater, middle down.
The data to you after that, once you get the trust.
And then that one beats him. And you can see they're looking at the board. He's got a lot of hitters confused. This is always a great sign when you're on the mound. Hitter checking the board like, how much did that move? Why did I not hit that? That was in a location that my eyes tell me I should hit. So he's underneath that one, and if I'm him, I'm sticking with that further up in the zone. Let's see. He is. Let's see if he gets it up. He actually throws the exact same pitch and burns him again, and that's a fastball hitter. Nick Castellanos is up there looking for fastballs. So this is a good pitch. I know he gave up some hits with four-seamers. I hear you. But you can see how it can play at times as well. So you're going to live and die with that pitch a little bit. All right, that's 2 outs, and then he's got to get the third out. Here's Fermin. Four-seam up away. Doesn't get the call. Slurve coming here. Undresses him. 1-1, and then he's going to get him out with a fastball probably up again. Nope, fastball down, beats it in the ground. So poor location there, but it works out. David Hamilton takes care of that, and he strands both runners. That might have been Castellanos looking at his age on the video board, asking, am I too old for this? We have a whole show on Shohei yesterday, in the second half of yesterday. He didn't play last night, so no Shohei today. He does chuck hella four-seamers, though. I mean, I would too if I had this heater. All right, 5th inning. This is going to be his last inning. Going to get a strikeout here on the four-seam. I mean, that's just middle down in. Like, you don't see a lot of swing and miss in this area. But they're under that pitch. That pitch is definitely behaving different than they're expecting. That was filth. All right, next up, in-play outs. Third time through here. This is the only out he gets on a changeup all game that I've seen. Little weird knuckleball kick change type of thing. Xander with an awkward swing ground out. This ball moved very weird. And you can tell by the weird swing that Xander takes on it. Just tapping it. Just tapping it forward. Also, I am now streaming on TikTok. So there's streams on my TikTok account right now. There's a simulcast going on right now on TikTok. If you happen to be watching on TikTok and you want to get in the chat, you got to switch over to my YouTube. Link is in my bio. And you just pop over there, hop in, you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you can get in the chat, you can pretty much request what you want, and maybe I'll take a look. All right, last pitch of the day, screaming four-seamer in at 96-2. Bad call there, and it's going to get overturned right here. That ball's pretty much completely in the zone. Gary didn't make it look great, but it worked really, really well. And that is the final pitch of Kyle Harrison's game. Really, really dominant four-seam in this game. But I want to do a quick check on some Kyle Harrison from last year. So I don't know who we faced last year, and I better do some intel on that. In his cup of coffee last season, who did Kyle Harrison face? Let's see. With the Red Sox, he faced Detroit. He faced Detroit in his last start of the year for the Red Sox. So let's check that out. So Detroit and Boston from last season, 2025. And there he is, Harrison. Let's see where he is set up on the rubber. Because I have a feeling that he moved. Yep, there it is. So he's moved from third base side to first base side, and he's created himself a much better angle to throw the slurve. So here's something that not a lot of people think about. It's mound placement in order to throw strikes, but not only to throw strikes, it's also to create the proper angle for your pitches to tunnel with, right? So if he's over here, look at how this slurve has to pop. It pops left to come back right. So if you want to hit a ball, if you want to hit on the outside corner, you now have to create this type of shape, which is crazy. You know, not as easy to do. Now, I did it, but I had a much more breaking slurve than him. Mine broke like 18. His is like 13. So you have to create that type of angle. And in order to miss in, you're also still going to have to start the ball in here to get it over. Now that they moved him over on the rubber, which we just saw with the Brewers, which I'm going to go back to now that I have confirmation. I'll show you again what I'm talking about here. Now his pitches trend from left to right on your screen. And I think it's going to hide his slurve a lot better. And I also think it allows his fastball to have some angle. So now that he's on the third base side, everything's coming out of his hand and trending this way. So then even when he throws the slurve, it trends this way and then gives out. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Like here's a four seam. We're looking for a slurve here. Here's a slurve. So here's a slurve. And now that's the backdoor slurve, but his hand's already out there. So he doesn't have to pop it left to go right. He can just throw it straight and let it get to backdoor. So straight out of hand is dropping backdoor. And if he starts it trending towards the middle, it's going to end up back foot, which is what we saw later in this outing at times. Hold on, let me find that strikeout with the slurve, like this one, for example, to Ramon Laureano. So again, like you could reasonably, if you're a hitter, think it's a fastball to this point because his fastball has to trend that way too. So I think the move on the rubber was massive. Obviously, regaining some velo seems like it had something to do with it as well. Although, let me just fact check that. Averaging 94.8 this year and even better yesterday. He was 94.6 last year. So, okay, not a huge difference. 2024, way down. That's when the Giants kind of decided to give up on him. So it's a combination of regaining his velocity, reorienting himself on the mound. He probably picked up a little bit of vertical break on his fastball too with a higher arm slot. Let's find out. This year, 15 vert, 13 tail. Last year, he was at 12 vert, 14 tail. So he picked up induced vertical break. He's still a below average release height, so that fastball's playing even better. The extension's good. This year, 6'7". What was he last year? Oh, this year he's actually slightly down in extension, but I don't have a problem with that. I think overall it's the low release height, little trending better velocity as we just saw in this last game, and a much better angle to play the slurve off of. And that's why we see Kyle Harrison. One of the reasons why we see him picking up a little bit, you know, in terms of his results. Also, walk rate is under control. And you see the chase rates massively jumped up. 34% chase this year, whereas in the other years he kind of struggled with that. So anytime you're getting people to swing at balls, that's a good thing. And I think that move alone made a big difference. So there's Kyle Harrison. All right, let me hop back into the chat. And then we will go ahead and watch probably McLean next. Durban for this guy is crazy town. It's crazy because I just looked it up. He's 24 years old. He's now gotten to come up and test drive what he's got. And now, you know, he's found a home where he's in a little bit of a formula right now that's working. So he's going to ride that a little bit. And they have plenty of team control over him. And, you know, pitching wins ball games. So good for the Brewers. The Brewers have now done that twice in a row, 2 seasons to the Red Sox. Quinn Priester the year before. And now Kyle Harrison this year. So are you going to break down Nolan's from yesterday? Yes, Kev. I think he's on the way back. Xander Bogaerts is washed. You know what's funny about that is he's actually the best hitter currently on the Brewers. This is actually as good as he's played in a long time. 745 OPS. I mean, he's not elite young Xander Bogaerts, but he's been the best hitter on the Brewers so far, which is crazy. I mean, on the Padres, excuse me. I always knew he was a great hitter when I played with him in Boston, but in terms of WOBA, he's number 1, 335. Obviously, ex-WOBA, they still have Tatis ahead of him, which is wild because Tatis has a 279 WOBA, so he's getting, I guess, unlucky, something like that. All right, what else we got here in the chat before I hop back over to watch watching I have no chat in TikTok. I want to drive people from TikTok over to YouTube. You got to be a YouTube subscriber to hop in the chat. Otherwise, it's just too overwhelming. And I think on TikTok, because a lot of people will find it by swiping, who knows who's in the chat, you know? So if you want to get in the chat, just hit that link, come over and join us on YouTube. So we're just trying to get more eyes on it. Paul Skeens moved bases on hand of batter. Moves based on hand of batter. Yep. McGreevy has a whip under 0.9 through 9 starts. How many qualified SPs still have a whip under 1? Not many, for sure. For sure. Schlittler added 8 MPH since he was drafted. How do you find a Cam in the draft? You find a guy who already has some pitching ability and a really good frame, and you like the way that he has something mechanically, inefficient going on that you think you can correct, and that's kind of what happened with Cam. He's a monster. He was throwing 90 miles an hour with a broken delivery, but still was finding a way to be very successful. So they understood that he had components of success, and then they were able to layer in the physical part, like the 98, 100 mile an hour part. So, that's how you find one. All right. Here we go. Yeah, sorry, not Milwaukee. I keep saying Brewers, but I meant Padres. Sorry about that. Subs 9.9, almost to 10K. All right, you know what time it is, guys. We do this every week, whenever this man pitches. Because he's been spectacular. We've witnessed his whole career, so why don't we just keep it going? His name is Nolan McLean. Lightning McLean, 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and a homer, 93 pitches, 2.92 on the year. And he gave them all up in the first inning, I guess, but I'm very curious to see how he, righted the ship and went the rest of the way. I only followed this game along. I had a crazy day yesterday, so I wasn't able to watch a ton, and this game was early in the day. All right, Nolan McLean, 35 sinkers was his number 1 pitch option in this game. Wow. 17 four-seamers and 16 cutters. Wow, doing his best Schlittler impression. The 3 fastballs leading the charge. Sinker, four-seam, cutter. I wonder if this is whether he's having a hard time landing his breaking pitches still, or if this is just a response to, trying to get deeper into the game. Velocity down as well. Average 93.6 on his sinker, 95.4 on his fastball. Both of those marks are down. Did throw 12 curveballs, 11 sweepers, and 2 changeups. Very low whiff game. That's like maybe 2 or 3 in a row where he's been a little bit lower in whiff than we've been used to seeing from McLean. But I think that's just a function of not throwing as many curveballs and sweepers, pitches that are designed to get whiff for him. And also sinker's not going to get a lot. Like he was 1 for 18 yesterday, but did command the strike zone. 68% first pitch strikes and a 51% zone rate. So Tigers Mets. Now, admittedly, the Tigers are in a bad spot right now. A lot of their best players aren't playing. This was massive for the Mets to be able to beat the Tigers the way they did. They handled them really well. They swept them. They needed to do that. You don't feel sorry for anybody in this game. You just go ahead and play. So here we go. Nolan McLean, all the pitches from his most recent start, and let's get cracking on that. All right. First batter, the one and only Kevin McGonigal, 4-seam down middle, strike 1. He's going to come back with another 4-seam. That's down ball 2, and here's the first sweeper we see. Wow, negative 7.6 vert on the sweeper. I've commented how on this year he's definitely been... Sweeper's been getting into slurve territory quite a bit. All right, here's the curve. That popped out. Lack of feel there. He also had been checking his hand in that last start, so nothing ever came of that. He completed his game and did great. But I do wonder if he's having a little bit of a grip issue on some of the breaking balls. All right, 2-2 sweeper for the first strikeout of the game. Ooh, a high sweeper in McGonigal. Very tough pitch, and wow, he might have had the Citi Field wind in this game. 23.8 vert. Are you shooting me? That is ridiculous. At 83, 3,000 RPM, top of the zone. So McGonigal kind of swings late, emergency hack, and that's why this pitch works so beautifully for the first out of the game. Next up. All right, it's Colt Keith. Sinker ball 1. Here's another sinker.
Never had a hit against him in his first 16 starts. 0 for 14 with a walk and a hit by.
Is this true? Tigers have been super unlucky. I would say certainly with their injuries. Yeah.
And McLean throws a fastball right by him.
All right, there's a 2-0 4-seam for a strike.
2 runs and 3 hits over 6 innings. A 12-5 Mets win.
Yeah, it kind of is at this point. There's a 4-seam up, so runs a 3-1, and then he's going to have a walk here, a first inning walk here. So walks Colt Keith, and that's going to bring up Riley Green, who's been the best player this year for the Tigers by a lot. Start him with the 4-seam. Now, I do think if you're designing a lineup to beat Nolan McLean, you would probably stack it all left-handed, and so that everybody can kind of learn from watching each other's at-bats. And then I do think he's vulnerable on his 4-seam at times. But it's still a tall task. He's still incredibly good. All right, here's a hit on a sweeper. 2-1 sweeper. Right down in the zone, right where Riley Green likes it. Slashes that to right, and we got a 1st and 3rd 1-out situation. He's just trying to get back into the count there, but that happens sometimes. All right, next up is Dylan Dingler, who's been a revelation this year. First pitch sweeper yanked away for a ball. Here comes the sinker looking for that double play. Misses up with it, fouls it off. Sinker coming again. That was the good pitch right there. That was the pitch. I mean, he's a little bit early on this, and that's why he pulls it foul, but that's the action you're looking for. That sinker in right on right for the chopper to third double play. Gets him the 1-2. Let's see what he tries to go to for the strikeout. Goes right to his trusty curveball.
Gage Workman is hitting 5th in the order on deck. And Dingler.
Pretty good one, but Dingler fights it off, and then here comes a sinker.
And he punches one.
Gets it up a little bit, and that's why he doesn't get it on the ground. But it is a very successful at-bat for McLean, as that's a lazy pop-up to Semien, and the runners have to hold 1st and 3rd. So he did get to 2 outs in this inning. He did get into a good situation in this inning, but it looks like it didn't go well right here. Gage Workman, first pitch sweeper homer. Oppo homer. You almost never see Oppo home runs on sweepers. But I don't know. You got to give credit to Gage Workman. First pitch sweeper, get me over. And he drives it the other way. And this pitch had elite movement. Negative 22.2, negative 3.6. So a frustrating first inning. I think the walk, probably the thing you're most frustrated about. Also falling behind in the count to Riley Green kind of leads you into this situation. I don't think there's anything wrong with this pitch choice. I think this is more of a good swing by Gage Workman. I was there for his first career home run in Kansas City the other day, and it was also on a breaking ball. Anecdotally, but I'm going to give credit to Gage Workman. I mean, at the end of the day, he's throwing a disgusting sweeper with huge movement to get me over strike here on a pitch that doesn't usually allow much slug, and it's a 3-run home run. So that's the 3 runs, and then he's going to roll after that. All right, next up, Zach McKinstry. Fastball for a strike, and then another fastball, and he's going to get him out. So he does dig himself a little bit of an early hole in this start, allowing the 3 runs on the first on that swing. There's a pretty well-struck fly out to Ewing in center, and that's the end of the first inning. That ball was hit hard by McKinstry, 101-9. All right, second inning. Torkelson, sweeper strike 1. Here comes a sweeper strike 2. So there was about that run value. Anytime you give up a 3-run home run on a pitch, it's going to tank your run value, and it looks like we just saw it with context on it. That was a weird pitch. He goes sweeper, sweeper, cutter, a very odd tunnel. Also, this cutter backed up, and yet he still got the swing and miss on it. Unclear why Torkelson didn't hit this, to be honest with you. He's another one looking at the board, not sure what he swung at, because that ball backed up a little bit. So that's why it tanked his run value. But you can see it was one pitch. It was a get me over. I don't think it's anything bad against his sweeper. I think it's more so a good swing by Gage Workman. All right, fastball up, line out to Semien. That ball was hit. That's part of what I'm talking about with his 4-seam. There's definitely some vulnerability on 4-seam at times. Ooh, and then a beautiful 1-pitch out on a sinker in to Jake Rogers to get him through a 1-2-3 second inning. Pretty efficient second inning. All right, third inning. Cutter in, good pitch right there to McGonigal, first pitch. Might have been able to go into 8th if not for the 20 in the first. Yeah. Curveball pops out of hand for a ball.
Up-and-coming youngsters, one of their top prospects.
There's no concerns with Nolan McLean so far. I mean, none whatsoever. None whatsoever. He's pitched well almost every game, even when he hasn't pitched well, and that's a really good sign. All right, 1-2 changeup coming. Yanks that in the ground, and then here's the front door sinker attempt. Pretty good swing by McGonigal, but man, Ewing was well positioned, and he was on that very quickly. Very telling that he's playing center field with Benj around, you know, and Tyrone and everybody. They must really like him in center. That's a good sign. All right, so that's 1 out in the third. And now we have Colt Keith again. Four-seam up, fouled back.
Look too much at just the surface level numbers.
Curveball here, another weird pop-up out of hand. I just think he's struggling to command his breaking stuff a little bit this year relative to last year. I do think he has the best breaking stuff in the league, so it's just a matter of, see, there's another miss. Once he finds that, he might you might see a 15 strikeout game coming down the pike this year. Man, 3-1 sinker, challenge sinker to a lefty, and this ball had such drop, half 0.4 vert, and gets under the bat of Colt Keith. That's a nasty pitch. All right, sinker here. Strike three. So really poor at bat by Colt Keith. Not sure what he was looking for there, but those two sinkers crushed him. All right, first pitch hit coming here from Riley Green. Four-seamer. All over that. Smacks it into the right. Riley Green's just a good ball player. So 2 for 2 to start off this game. Man on first 2 outs. That's going to bring up Dylan Dingler. Got him jammed on a sinker the first time. Sinker in ball. Sinker coming again. That's a called strike. And sinker again. Misses over the plate, lines it to right, but Benj is right there. So I don't think he had his best command that inning, but still worked out, no problem. Fourth inning. Don't want that Arby's sandwich, I'll tell you that. All right, here it is. First pitch cutter to Workman, foul ball, and then he's going to double up on that cutter. So he says, oh, you want to take me the other way? I'll jam you in. Workman says, no, that's fine. I can smash your cutter too. And he's going to rip a double. So home run and a double, first 2 at-bats from Workman. I want to see more guys attack Workman with fastballs. I mean, I feel like so far he's proven that he's a pretty good breaking ball hitter. His first home run of his career was pretty much on a pitch just like this. We've seen him turn on this cutter. We've seen him go the other way with the sweeper. So, interesting there. Oh, they have the meats. All right, man on second, no outs, and he's going to get a 1-pitch out here from McKinstry on a cutter that he jams him. So that was a very well-located cutter. Actually, it's a hit. Floated in, but that was a good location. And then they go ahead and throw the runner out at third. This was a controversial play. A.J. Hinch got ejected on the strength of this play. And I don't know, to me, he looks pretty damn safe here. So this is a very lucky outcome for the Mets, if we're being honest. I didn't see this in real time, but I saw a replay and I forgot about it. Good throw by Melendez to gun this ball, but, you know, the umpire doesn't see anything. He's trying to stick his head in there, but it's all kind of blocked up. But it is crazy. His hand is on the base right there. So that's a very poor call, but they get a free out. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful play right there. No, I mean, 100% safe. I meant safe. 100% safe. Sorry. 100% safe. All right, so that's going to free out there. That's going to bring up a 1-pitch out with a man on first. Interesting that the runner didn't get to second, and then Torkelson's going to immediately hit into a very efficient double play. So to review, this is how this inning went. This is how this inning went. This inning went double, 2-pitch double. This is the luckiest inning ever. 2-pitch double. 1-pitch single, runner thrown out at third, runner doesn't advance to second on the throw. So now you just have a man on first and then a first pitch double play. So kind of an incredible sequence of events, but if you're McLean, you don't apologize, you say thank you. And you keep it moving on to the 5th. Brutal umpire right there. That was bad. That changed the game. Tigers needed that. They would have had first and third no outs in that spot. You know, now the at-bat's totally different. All right, first pitch sinker strike to Perez. There's the curveball over the plate. Nasty 0-2.
As a player who grew up in the game,
Beatty non-challenge call. Should be made to. So I think the umpires should be interviewed after games in general, but you don't see it a lot. All right, here's a sinker for a hit. So, you know, he did kind of get a lot of base runners on that he had to work through in this start, no doubt about it. Leadoff hit here by Perez. Long at-bat coming here with Rogers. Sinker up, ball 1. Thanks, Jack. Reminder, if you're on TikTok and you want to come over and get in the chat, click that link in the bio, come over to YouTube, subscribe, you can get in the chat. All right, 2-0 cutter. Getting back in the count here. Here's a pickoff. Don't care about that. Here comes a sinker right here. So interesting that they scored it a single. I never knew that's how you would have scored that. I would have thought fielder's choice. Yeah, I think it's a single because it's considered being out, taking the extra base. You know, I think that's why that's called that. You don't want to take the hit away from the batter there in that spot. 10 years ago today, Odor super punched Jose Bautista. Oh shoot, he got him on the pickoff. I'll go back. I'll go back. I want to see the rest of this at bat. So he got bailed out by a pickoff too? Jeez Louise. Here's a four-seam. Up middle, fouled off. Good battle by Rogers here.
On the eve of the season, and Willie arrived about 6 weeks later. That's inside.
Yeah, so he ends up walking him. All right, here's that pickoff that I missed.
Retired here. Out here's
Where's that? Here it is. Here's that pickoff I missed, where he gets him. Man, the Tigers just can't get anything right. It's unbelievable. Here's the McLean pick. Pretty quick. Pretty quick. Actually, not that fast. I mean, pretty quick. So that means it must have been a pretty hellacious lead by the runner. I guess he just... Poor reaction. Good pickoff by McLean. So credit to McLean. Thanks for pointing that out. I didn't see that. Yeah, the Mets definitely needed a break. I mean, that's obvious. All right, so he ends up walking Rogers. Now we're back to the top of the order, and McGonigal, first pitch, four-seam up and in.
Just got to figure out maybe with his less than his greatest stuff how to get
Cutter up and in 2-0.
Wenzel Perez
Caught napping.
first base.
And now a 2-0 sinker to McGonigal, and he kind of slices off that.
Melendez coming toward the line. And he's got
I think he's really benefited a little bit from the Tigers' lack of depth in their lineup right now. There's been some empty at-bats in the bottom of the order. And they haven't been able to convert very well. All right, so there is the second out, and we're back to Colt Keith, who has not looked good in this game. Sinker fouled off. Here comes a changeup. Chopped into Sanger, so 0-2, and then he's going to punch him with the curveball. He owned Colt Keith in this game. That was down, but that was filth. Good catch by Sanger, too. Man, that's 31 inches of total movement right there, and a nice catch by Hayden Sanger. And yeah, he could have challenged it, but he made that look awfully good. And this is why framing still matters. Very nice pitch. All right, so that's it for the fifth. On to the sixth. Riley Green, 2 for 2. Hit on a fastball, hit on a sweeper. All right, 2-0 count. Sinker coming here. Riley actually challenges this one and is incorrect, as that is in the zone. So 2-1. Cutter coming here. Nope. And then 3-1 and a leadoff walk in the sixth. Yeah, I don't think he was that sharp. I really don't think he was that sharp in this game. I mean, he's gotten a lot of beneficial stuff. A pickoff, a runner thrown out at third, a very timely double play. A couple empty at-bats. He's still going to go 7, though. Like that. That's an empty at-bat. He's been pitching Dingler in with sinkers. He does the same thing here, and Dingler goes ahead and swings off the plate in. Just does him a total favor and pops it out on the first pitch. So, one out there. All right, next up, Workman. Remember, Workman now has hit a sweeper and a cutter. So let's see how they attack him. Sinker away. Here's a cutter in off the plate in, gets the chase and the miss. That was a good location, at least. Sinker here. That's down. Wow, gets the call, no challenge. Holy cow! Also benefiting from some calls. Sanger earning his money behind the plate, and then he's going to get him with the curveball. So he finally got him in a good count, and then wiped him out with the world's best curveball. That thing is filth. So 2 outs there. On to the next batter. McKinstry fouled off on a sinker. Here comes a cutter. That's up high. Another cutter fouled off. 1-2 count. Try to wipe him out with the curveball. Just misses that one. And then to the cutter.
Grounded down to first, handled by
Rolled to Vientos, and he's through the 6th. All right, 7th inning. He's going to start off with a hit by pitch. Yeah, he didn't pitch great overall. He dug himself a lot of holes. He's just so nasty that he's able to usually wiggle his way out. And also, like I said, he benefited from some things. So leadoff batter on in the 7th. Here's Perez. Sinker in, strike. Here comes a sweeper.
Perez gets a breaking ball and dribbles it down to Vientos.
A little rollover to Vientos. So 1 out in the 7th. Next up is Rogers.
For the Tigers, the two-way catcher.
Cutter middle, strike 1. Here comes a sweeper off that. I like that choice. Very nice. 0-2. Curveball off of that. So very good sequence here, going from shortest to biggest breaking balls, and all perfectly located. That was fantastic. That was a clinic. Cutter landed for a strike, sweeper off that line for a strike, curveball off that line for the chase, and look at this curveball disappear. That's when he's at his best. That's filth. All right, 2 outs. And McGonigal for a 4th time. And I think he's going to punch him out looking to end his outing. So he really dialed it in these last 2 batters. Sinker fouled off. Here comes a curveball.
So you might get through 7 innings.
That should have been a strike, no challenge. So he ends up at a 1-1 count. Curveball coming again. Kind of found the feel for his curveball late in this game. Dropped it in backdoor to McGonigal. And here comes the last pitch, which is going to be a front door sinker, right? Yeah, perfect front door sinker. He finally landed it. And he went a little batshit on this one. I'm not going to lie. Check it out. Yeah, used some choice words. I think there was something that initials started MF right here. I think he was just more mad at himself for not pitching that well, I'd say, for most of the game for his standards. But then he really dialed it in at the end. And he was able to make it through 7 innings, 3 runs, and qualify for the win. So that's part of the reason why I have him as, above Schlittler still and really high up, is because he doesn't have to pitch great for his own standards to still get good results. It's one of the things that I really respect about McLean is the quality of his stuff. Like, he's got 4 or 5 ridiculously above average pitches, but it's also like he has a very good variety of ways to attack both sides of the plate. Versus lefties, the curveball is incredible. The front door sinker is great. Now he's throwing a lot of these cutters and, sweepers for strikes that kind of, feed that a little bit, four seam up, and then the kick change is gross. Righties, he can ram sinkers in you all day, and then he can go cutter, sweeper, curveball anytime he wants. Backdoor sinkers available, so he's got plenty of options. So even when he's not great, like, let's be honest, he wasn't that great in this game. A lot of traffic, a lot of mistakes, a lot of beating himself. He can still wiggle out of a lot of things, but you also got to give him credit for the pickoff, and you got to give the Mets defense credit a little bit for that assist, and then also him mental credit as well for, sticking with it, continuing to make pitches, continuing to believe in himself, and, basically getting it done. So he's really good. Not that we didn't already know that, but, you just look at his game logs from this year, and I don't think he's even pitched his best, but yet it's pretty dang strong. This is his last handful of starts. 7 innings, 1 run. 6 2/3, 3 runs. 5 innings, 1 run. 4 innings, 3 runs. That's his one clunker. Then 6 innings, 1 run. 7 innings, 3 runs. Like, for the most part, he's doing a very, very nice job of ultimately putting his team in position to win. Between him and Clay Holmes, they do have kind of 2 aces. I mean, you can loop Peralta in there a little bit, but I do think that both of them have kind of surpassed him in overall effectiveness, in my opinion. But him and Holmes, I feel like they're really good. They learn from each other a lot, and he just eclipsed 100 innings in his career, and he's got a 1 flat whip. So incredible way to start off your career. Uncle Ted's asking me to look at the separation on his pitches, and yeah, I mean, it's crazy. That's the thing. You have to cover more than a plate's length, east-west, and then he's got some up north-south ability as well, and just the spin on the breaking balls makes everything an outlier. I mean, you see the curve. It's crazy. It's outside the dash lines there, which means that's way more break than anticipated. And then even with the sweeper, same deal. So those two pitches are complete outliers in terms of movement. Sinker's a little bit of an outlier. Changeup, like more people are throwing this variety of changeup, but that's also on the way to outlier territory. So pretty crazy for Nolan McLean in terms of the pitch movement factor. And that brings me to why do you think his chase percentage is so low? Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, sweepers don't gain a lot of chase, and he leans on that a lot. Sinkers don't get a lot of chase, leans on that a lot. I also think he throws some non-competitive curveballs. You've seen those ones that pop out of the hand up and away to left-handed batters. So I just think it's a combination of those three factors, and so doesn't have as much chase. Also, he doesn't need as much chase because he freezes guys up and locks them up really well. So for all those reasons, I feel like Nolan is, that's why he doesn't have as much chase. But it's not a big deal to me. You know what I mean? Like, I think ultimately he can pitch without it. All right, what else we got here in the chat? Okay, Ryan O'Hearn. Let me hop over. Well, let me stay in the chat here for a minute. Doug Fister was awesome. Porcelain, Verlander, Fister. You mean Porcello? Porcello, Verlander, Fister, Scherzer. They also had Price at one point over there. Can we check Dolander? He was removed from his start. Yeah, we might have to check that. Yeah, but he advanced 2 bases in this situation, Maya. He attempted to advance to his second base. So I think that's right. Am I going to watch the Mets hit? Probably not. Probably not. I know that Ewing first career home run. We could watch Ewing's first career home run if you want real quick. It did come in this game, and you know what's funny? He's been given such a low power grade, Mr. Ewing. And yet he hits this ball like really freaking hard. So here's the at-bat from his first career homer off Kiter Montero. 4-seam pulled down in, and then another 4-seam pulled down in that he gets the barrel to. Smashes it out to right. First career dinger. Sucks that it bounced up there. It looks like it bounced into the bullpen, so Rack and those guys got it for him. But 110.5. I don't think a lot of people thought he had 110 in his bag. He was considered a guy who was never going to hit home runs. But if you have 110 in your bag, you're going to hit some home runs. So really clean swing here by Ewing. He's been definitely a shot in the arm for the Mets. This is something that they needed. All his home runs are going to be like this, but that's a hell of a swing. He got the hands through there quick and beat him to the spot. So a very impressive swing right there by Ewing. And I mentioned, like, in comparison to Benj, when Benj first came up, Ewing is much more efficient with his swing, so I think he's going to hammer fastballs. And that's what we saw there. Hammers a fastball here for his first career dinger. Very nice. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I know the Mets hit some other home runs, but don't care. Don't care right now. All right, back to the solo for a sec, and then we'll hop into something else. McLean versus Cam. Which one are you taking? McLean. I'm still on Team McLean. You can tell I'm not a biased reviewer because Schlittler went to my college. You would think I'd be all about him, and I do love him. But I believe in McLean a little more. He's got more pitches, better spin. I do think ultimately he can solve more problems than Cam. I think right now Cam's a flamethrower through the league with the 3 fastballs, and he's being very efficient, and it's great. But I still would give the edge to McLean, and that's no disrespect to Schlittler. I think they're both top 10 pitchers in baseball. I see a bit of Imanaga in Harrison's delivery from side. You're 100% right. Very similar, actually. They have the high plane on the fastball. I think that's exactly true. Exactly true. Benj just has too much of a load. I mean, he's getting better at getting on top of pitches, but Ewing is very good. Once we get a little more data, I'll look at his bat tracking, Jack. I can show you that once. It's going to be another week or so, but we'll get a little bit of that going. No, we don't need to watch me. Third shortest swing on a home run since backtracking started at 110 plus. Seager and Cruz. That's amazing. Benj now has the 5th fastest swing in MLB? I don't think that's true. Is that true? Man, now you're making me look at some Mets stuff. We have more stuff to look at. All right, let's see here. Carson Benj, bat tracking. I mean, no. Average bat speed 71.4. Swing length is pretty small considering the bat speed, which is good. But no, that's definitely not top of the scale. Leaderboards, bat tracking. Yeah, I mean the top of the scale is right around 80. So you're not right about that one, but he's got a very good swing. Benj makes me question Savant's swing length. Yeah, because a lot of his movement's in his body and not as much with the bat. And so that's why I think it does make me question it a little bit too. But I think that's what it's measuring, is that the bat didn't move a ton. It's more so the body moved a lot. I think that's what we're seeing. But yeah. Anywho. Quickest swing is the combo of short swing and hard swing. Okay, so yeah, because he has a good bat speed with the short swing length. That's something I loved about Kyle Stowers. So like how you figure that out is you sort by swing length like this. And then you just look for anybody that's above average bat speed with a short swing length. So Corey Seager immediately pops here at 71.9 and a 6.7 swing length. Isaac Collins, 73.4. Helio Ramos, 72. Jesus Sanchez, 73. So Benj is going to be in this range somewhere, although I probably have to lower the amount of swings down to 25. So let's update that. And then I guess that's probably what you're referring to. And then I think you might be totally right. Yeah, Blake Dunn, who I've never seen hit. Kyle Stowers, Isaac Collins, Wyatt Langford. Where's Benj? He should be in here somewhere. Oh, yeah, there he is, right there, number 5th in terms of swing length. And then he also has above average bat speed. That's actually very encouraging, although, again, his load is so long that it makes me wonder how that's calculated. But yeah, man, 6.5 swing length should be a very short swing combined with a powerful swing. That should be a very good quality to combine. That's something I liked about Stowers last year. Big time. All right, that's enough for that. So good call, Nick. Good call, Nick. Ewing doesn't have great bat speed. That's why he's not ranked very high in terms of, power potential. Because if you don't have any bat speed, especially like, in the mid 70s, you're not considered to have like a ton of power potential. You got to at least be over 70. And Ewing right now is very, very low. Like, let me see if I can just find him at all. If I go update, let me go back to my main screen here. If I go update by one swing, and then I search for Ewing, there he is. So there it is, 70.6 miles an hour. It's actually a good combo, guys. I'm not upset about this at all. This is very fascinating. So the swing length is actually shorter than Benj. So he'll be in the top 5 shortest swings in the league. But again, he eclipsed the 70 mile an hour mark, which I think is really important. Again, the combination of bat speed plus swing length. So it's a very small sample, but that's a good combination that Ewing is also bringing to the table as well. All right, let me get back in the chat here, and then we'll move on to something else. I need to see Benj succeed against velocity. He was really good on velo last year, then trained with the holidays and messed up his swing, and maybe slowly fixing it. Early in the season, he was cooked on anything up in the zone with velo, but we'll see. No, load's like just load. When I refer to load, it's like how much movement you create before your launch. So like some guys, if you notice, like Michael Garcia is just like right here, and he literally just like steps and swings. A lot of the best hitters in the league, they start like doing a lot of stuff when they're young, and by the end they get very efficient and tight, and it allows them to be quicker to the ball and more efficient to the ball. But if you watch Carson Benj, especially when he first came up, he's got like a huge like bring back with the body, and then he kind of like lunges forward, and it's like a lot of going on, and that's something that you can mess with as a pitcher. It's another thing that you can mess with as a pitcher. So I am not on Sunday Night Baseball this week. I'll be in next week in Anaheim. This week, no, but I got a lot of fun, exciting things coming up for sure. Ethan's been raking, just so you know, guys, raking. So it's so stupid to crap on 20-year-old players who have big league pedigree in their family. Like, they're going to figure it out. This guy's going to hit at least to the big leagues, and then we'll see what he does in the big leagues. You know what I'm saying? All right, one more question here. How did you get your mechanics? Were they natural to you? It's funny because I had a natural set of mechanics that I kind of developed by watching pitchers, you know, and something that felt comfortable. But then when I became aware of my mechanics, I started getting in my own head about them. But I do think what kind of happens is you imitate enough other pitchers and you start to find things that feel right with your body, and then you make something your own. So that's what happened to me over time. It's just funny, though. I felt like I never really truly owned my mechanics until probably 2018. And that's a really long time into my career. That's 12 years, and that's 8 years into pro ball. No, that's 12 years into pro ball for me before I felt I really, you know, established my my mechanics as mine, in my opinion. All right, we've been banging it around a lot, so I threw from both, but then definitely the stretch once I was a reliever full time, and that just made it simpler for me. Didn't have to, you know, take care of 2 deliveries. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. There's one more thing here, right? What was the most counterintuitive mechanic change you had to make? I guess the most two counterintuitive ones. One, the pushing off the back rubber. If you watch the video that me and June talked about, I was trained when I was younger to really drive with my back leg off the rubber. Eventually, I learned that that wasn't that important to me. You know, the lead leg has been proven to be much more important in transferring that power up the chain. So once I figured that out, that was something that was counterintuitive. Another one was my lead hand. So like early in my career, I was taught to really pull with the lead hand really hard. But all that did was create this like spinny, really hard to like control my hand in space type delivery. So over time, I developed this strategy of having my glove here and trying not to move it. Like I would play catch like this in an effort to keep myself straight and get my hand here. Now, it's not going to happen in the game. You're going to move anyway. But the idea was to control that rotation so I could drive my energy more forward and be more accurate with my hand and throw strikes, to answer that question. All right, we're going to move on. You guys have been good talking about a lot of Mets stuff, but we have to watch some other pitchers. And I actually want to watch Ryan O'Hearn. I want to see if I can't figure this out. They said that he made some stance adjustments, and that's why he's been all of a sudden hitting again for the Padres. I mean, for the Pirates. I keep messing that up. That is so bad. All right. Let's see here. Wonder if there's a way to go game by game batting stance chart. Because there was something with his chart and his batting stance that had gotten messed up. So let's see if I can figure that out. Doesn't look like it. That sucks. All right, but we could maybe try something else here. Since we're just trying things out. Maybe average attack direction. Let's go by game. 2026. Yeah, it looks like there's a pretty drastic change right around this point, April 25th. And then after that, everything sort of normalizes, and then he kind of comes down a little bit. I don't know. Point is, he started playing a lot better. recently. Let me go to his game logs. Ryan O'Hearn. See his last couple games, last 5 games in particular: 2-hit game, 1-hit game, no-hit game, 2-hit game, 3-hit game. And he's been a solid contributor thus far for the Pirates. And really, it was a big deal for them to figure out where they were going to get offense from. And he's one of the ones he's one of the ones that we were talking about. There's an article on MLB.com, I want to say. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Saw it earlier. Here we go. Credits coaches for stance adjustments. So let's read about this a little bit and then we'll watch him hit a little bit, and then we'll move on to a pitcher. O'Hearn was hitting 238, 289, 357 with 1 home run in 11 games in May prior to Thursday. That came after a good first month where he hit 306, 394, 481. Yet he got back on track, and he thanks the Pirates coaching staff for the development. Quote, credit to the hitting department. They kind of showed me how my setup was a little bit different than in April. This kind of thing just happens without even thinking about it. That kind of helped me out, freed me up a little bit. Yesterday, I got to a fastball that was a ball inside. That pitch has been blowing me up the last couple of weeks. It was a good adjustment, seeing it good right now and riding the wave. Here's the actual stuff. I was 2 inches wider with his legs. My hands were closer to my head, and my left foot was turned 6 degrees closer to the third base dugout instead of more towards the pitcher. I was just off. Part of the season, and I'm glad they caught it when they did. So this article caught my attention because, to be honest with you, it's just very weird how in baseball and in life sometimes your body just wants to make natural changes. You know, like it just can't help it but kind of slide into some new territory because it's not good at staying exactly the same. It's just human nature for things to slide one way or another mechanically. So Ryan O'Hearn went through that a little bit, and now he's back out on the other side. So Pirates, Rockies. I think we'll watch the last 2 games because he hit pretty well in both of them. So here is O'Hearn, 2 for 4. Here is him left on left versus Quintana.
Because I saw that he's averaging right around
2.5 ERA. And then they traded him.
Orioles just platooned him with Mountcastle and didn't get to really get ABs until last year. You know, it's funny because I looked at Ryan O'Hearn when he was with the Royals years ago. I remember he had a 2-home run game against us with the Yankees. Maybe 2020, 2019. Both oppo shots into the visiting bullpen, which are not easy pokes. And it caught my attention. I remember thinking, this guy has some ability. I'd like to see him, improve in a couple other areas. And to his credit, he really has. Ooh, there he leans in on a sweeper from Quintana and lasers that down the line for a double. 95-6. Does a good job keeping his head down on the ball here. Look at that, striding in, staying closed, left on left is a big key. Look at that head down on the ball. Tremendous swing here by O'Hearn. So again, remember what he was talking about in his setup. His hands were closer to his head. His feet were wider. The angle of this foot was off. And now we have metrics that can see all these things. So now he's more comfortable. And now he's back feeling good up there at the plate. So it's amazing how, sometimes these metrics can give you clues because oftentimes you can just lose your feel out there in space. So there's a double. And here is the home run off of Senzatella. And this is a tough guy to be hitting. This guy's been raking all year long. Fastball in off the plate. We just saw the article, O'Hearn talking about it. And a guy who's barely given up anything on the year, Senzatella, and he's able to pull the hands in and clip him for a home run in the gap at 100.4 at 28. So again, like the Pirates, they get Brandon Lau. The Password's been hitting good in AAA. I'd like to see him come up. But O'Hearn was a big part of this as well, and now their offense is a lot better than it was last year, and that's why I give them a puncher's chance. Because we already knew they had some pitching, but now they have some offense too. Ozuna's another one. They need to get him going a little bit more, but overall. All right, so there's O'Hearn from 2 days ago, and then yesterday he comes up with another multi-hit game. So I want to give Ryan a little bit of love here because, first of all, he's a good dude, but second of all, really good player. Here's the home run off Dolander, and while we're here, we'll check Dolander on the back end of this when he gets pulled out of the game. All right, sinker down strike, and then he's going to clip him on a four-seam. Really pulls those hands in tight. Kabooms that out to center. That was crushed. 104-1 at 29.
Already the Pirates up 3-0.
Yeah, O'Hearn was a free agent last year. He signed a multi-year deal with the Pirates, coming off of a pretty good stint with San Diego, where he was kind of platooning after being with Baltimore. And yeah, anybody could have had him. Pirates take the flyer. He's been very good this year. I've noticed O'Hearn is a line drive swinger naturally, and when he's on, he's driving balls to the alleys. He's got huge pop, man, and the ball really carries off his bat, you know. A lot of people missed on this guy, in my opinion. He's a good hitter. All right, second at bat, he's going to get a hit left on left versus Bernie.
7 home runs have come on fastballs. Slide him into the top 10 or darn close.
All right, 1-1 count. Curveball coming again. 1-2, and then he's going to get a hit on this sinker.
Going the other way.
He's got a good ability to kind of pull those hands in. Little line drive to left, base hit there, and then he's going to get his last hit of the game. I don't want to watch the whole at bat because it's 10 pitches, but here it is. Versus Tanner Gordon. Smashes one down the line. So 5 hits in the last 2 days for O'Hearn. He's feeling good. Pirates offense in general has been a little bit better this year, and they need that. You know, Cruz is at 800 OPS. Brandon Lau, 878. Reynolds, 775. O'Hearn, 849. Connor Griffin, 710 and rising. Spencer Horowitz is 800. That's a decent top 6. That's a decent top 6. So you got to feel good about that. As for Dolander, he left the game in the second inning. So very scary here, I would imagine. Let's see what we got here. This is his last batter, Jared Triolo. See what we can see. Elbow discomfort, never a good sign, especially when you throw as hard as him. He's been pitching awesome this year. This obviously wasn't his day. But I'm trying to see what we can see here. Because this was his last batter, and then he had to come out of this game. It's crazy because 96.6, and it looks like his arm hurts to me a little bit with the way he threw this last pitch. But it's crazy to throw 96.6 and you're not even feeling good. When he's been averaging 99 on the year. Fastball in, and then here's the last pitch. It's a sinker, and it's ball 4.
He'll accept the walk. Two-seamer running in.
Didn't really get a great view of that. So I guess we'll just wait and see what the results are. But I mean, to me, he's the golden goose with the Rockies right now. So they got to keep him healthy one way or another. They have to. Dolander was a great story this year, so we'll see. I'm definitely nervous for him. Hopefully none of that happens. But, you know, we'll see. We've watched Sprout a little bit earlier when he popped up with a really good start. I think Chase Burns is probably next. I'm trying to look at my list here. And then we got some high school guys to look at. We might even get into McGreevy a little bit. Ranger Suarez pitched pretty well. But yeah, all right, let's do Chase Burns now. All right, let's hop over to Chase Burns while I answer this question. Who do I want to face next, the Cavs or the Pistons? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe the Cavs. I feel like the Knicks match up really well against the Cavs. But, you know, I could be wrong on that. You know, there's Donovan Mitchell factor. He seems to play well in the Garden. All right, here we go. Chase Burns, another great start from him. 6 innings, 2 hits. Yeah, we have some guys coming for you, Uncle Ted. Don't worry. He's got now down to a 1.87 ERA. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, no runs versus the Nats. Let's see if he mixed in more changeups or not in this game. Not really. 61 fastballs, 28 sliders, 5 changeups, and 1 curveball. 1 curveball. Interesting. Maybe that's a different slider. I don't know. Nah, it doesn't look like it. It looks like a curveball, 82 miles an hour. So curious to see. 62% whiff on slider is ridiculous. Part of the reason why I really believe in him as a starter. The slider is such a whiffy pitch, even versus lefties. All right, so let's get into Chase. He faced the Nats yesterday. Washington and the Natty Reds. Chase Burns. All right, let's see it. James Wood called out on strikes as the first out. 98-mile-an-hour heater. Right down the middle. Not sure what you're looking for. And who's up next? It is Luis Garcia. Four-seam coming up away. Get some reaching. Reaching and tapping to McLean. 2 outs there. And he'll get the third out on a strikeout here of House. Four-seam 99.5 up in the zone. Look at this flat little mound, and these balls up in the zone really play in Cincy. There's no doubt about it. Chase Burns doing his Michael Jackson leg kick finish. You gotta love it. And a very dominant first inning. Second inning. Here comes an out to CJ. Fastball above the zone, popped it up. His Ks were down a bit the last few outings, but he was back to his normal self today. Yeah, that stuff's going to ebb and flow. I think, he's trying to learn how to go deep in the game as well. I think his strikeout ability will always be there with the slider he has and the velo he has. But, he's looking to pitch deep into the game and do what aces want to do, which is, pitch 7 innings all the time, maybe more. Little lazy line drive off the end here, caught by Sal Stewart, who's playing first base in this game. And here is a strikeout to end the second on that slider down in. That pitch is just filthy. This is such a good pitch. This is one of the nastiest pitches in baseball. And Lyle finds out right here. Nasty. All right, third inning. Nasim Nunez, one of the fastest men in baseball. Middle, fly out to left. Again, that ball has a little bit of perceived cut to it. So it tends to get in on lefty's hands just enough, and they can't usually drive the ball. That's what happened there. Fly out. Ooh, there's a hit on a slider from Vivas. So he's going to get a nice 1-out double here in the third. Next up is a 3-pitch strikeout, so let's watch it to Milas. Fastball up and away, swing through. Fastball up and away, up middle, swing through. And fastball again. So doors. This one's a take. Disgusting. All right, and then he's going to get out of this inning with a fastball to James Wood. Wow, he made contact with that above the zone. And a nice sliding catch out there in left. Very nice play for the final out of the third. Fourth inning, he's going to have a leadoff walk to Garcia. So the first little bit of adversity here, leadoff walk. Next up, strikeout to House. So he's punched House out twice now. Once on a fastball, once on a slider. This pitch just wipes you out. Maintains its height for a really long time before dying out. Now, what do we got going on here with the clown show right here? This is just creepy, if you ask me. Who goes to the game looking like that? My goodness. All right, punch out. That's the first out of whatever inning this is, fourth inning. Next up, CJ. Going to strike him out with the slider, back foot. I mean, this slider's just wipe out. They can't lay off of it. Now, this camera angle sucks. You can't really see it, but that pitch is holding its line for so long. Oh, that was a fantasy punishment. Ah, okay. All right, there is 2 outs now in the fourth, and then he's going to get out of the fourth. Jacob Young. Slider away off the cap, out to Ellie. Side retired on, out of the, that's the second out of the fifth, excuse me. All right, third out of the fifth comes, second out of the fifth, excuse me, comes here. Lyle pops up the 96-4 fastball up. It's just 2 plus pitches, in my opinion, the slider and the fastball. Also, he throws a lot of strikes. I do think at some point he'll probably add some more stuff to the mix. Ooh. A very rare dropped ball. But at this point, he's pitching great, so I'm not going to tell him he needs to do much else. What happens here? Just a foul ball? And then Oh, they called catcher's interference on that, so he goes to first. So now first and third, 2 outs, and the 9-hole up, Milos with another weak grounder to second, and he's through the 5th. Man, that was weird, that catcher's interference. All right, 6th inning.
Just this length, I'm just impressed with how these
James Woods, see you later with the slider. Man, this is nasty. Just absolutely.
I'm just impressed with.
He's nowhere close to that. He's way above that. First strikeout. All right, 1 out and a 1-pitch out on a changeup to Garcia. Actually, it's a hit. So he didn't throw many changeups. This one's up in the zone. That's actually where Garcia likes it. He likes the ball up in the zone. So he smacks that. Man on second, 1 out. House pulls it. Ooh, Ellie, nice backhand. Makes that look really easy. Gets the out there. And then here's another walk to CJ. So this is the 2nd walk. So he does have a first and second 2-out stitch. Let's watch all 3 pitches here as he finishes his outing. Slider ball 1. Fastball ball 2. Definitely tiring here. But he's going to make a good pitch here. Yeah, gets it to the outer corner. Pretty good swing at it. And a nice running catch out there in center by Dane Myers. Nice play. Jacob Young kind of caught that off the end. So Chase Burns continues to shove. Another scoreless outing versus Washington. He's been off to a tremendous start this year. This draft class that he was in, the 2024 draft, shaping up to be one of the best all time. A lot of guys getting in very early and kind of showing what they can do at the big leagues at a very young age and setting this class up for, quite the trajectory. So here's his baseball savant marks. He's above average in every single thing and slightly below on average exit velo and barrel, but okay. Other than that, it's great. Gets chase, gets whiff, gets K. His walks are under control. He even gets a healthy amount of grounders, probably from that slider tilt. Just a very, very good pitcher. 1.87 through 9 starts this year. Doing it with less strikeouts, as you see, 55 and 53 innings. But to me, that's a good change. I don't think it's a big deal.
I'm a baseball mom.
You did. Look at that. Should we show the people? Check this out. Archer's got baseball practice with his friends today. So she packed a cooler full of ice pops. Big time baseball mom status.
I'm a baseball mom.
You're a baseball mom now, kiddo.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you.
All right, back to the main screen. I was talking about Burns. So yeah, the strikeouts are down a little bit in terms of per inning, but in terms of rate, I mean, they're still really good. 26.1 this year. I know last year it was out of hand, 35.6. But I also think, if you want to be, that type of way he was pitching last year is reliever status. The way he's pitching this year is ace status, at least high-level starter status. So to me, it's a level up. Sometimes you can be better because you can pitch more innings and go deeper into games, and you have more than one way to get you out than just trying to chase. I talk about it all the time, with Cease and other starters, but I really believe it. So I don't just say it to say it, I really, really believe it. All right. What else we got going on here? Just checking my live numbers. We are cooking right now. 95 people on my page, 48 on MLB. We got tons on TikTok. So we're riding. We're riding good. If you're on TikTok and you want to get in the chat, come subscribe to the YouTube and watch us on YouTube if you're in the TikTok chat. All right, that was Chase Burns. Let me hop over to the chat, see what you guys are talking about. Oh, that's a funny comment about the clowns in the stands. Wow. Aggressive, but funny, Nick. I'm not going to lie. That is funny. Funny. Oh, here we go. Here's a wholesome question. What's your best recommendation for going into high school baseball? Should I try out for our local high school or a private high school or maybe both? That's a very general question. I don't really know. I don't know what your goals are, what your level is, where you're from, the high schools. There's a million things to consider here. A lot of things. Family dynamics, economics, grades. There's a million things to think about. So, sorry I can't answer that question very well. Oh, I got some TikTok super chatters in here. Thank you. Thank you for sending me some nice things. I did say if you're a member, I don't know what that even means on TikTok, you can get in the chat. Otherwise, you got to come over here. Ice Pops are 1,000,000 times better than the tiny child-sized bag of chips. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Do you think Blake Snell will do well today? Yeah, I thought he looked good in the last game. We went over his last start. I know he didn't get good results, but I think the truth is he pitched a lot better than his results last year, so I think he'll be fine. Velocity was good. Ayo, did you know there's a place where everyone in all of these streams can discuss baseball all day long? That's true. If you want to be a member of the Grounds Crew, come join the Discord link in my bio. And go chat baseball all day long, post memes, go yell at the internet in the being angry section, get in the fantasy, all that stuff. It's all in there. So, very, very good. Ice Pops for the win. Ooh, Garrett's Cole's being broadcast tomorrow. And yes, maybe we'll review that tomorrow night on Baseball After Dark. What do you think about that? All right. What do I want to watch next? What do I want to watch next? What do I want to watch next? Should we look at Nick Kurtz for a second? I missed him yesterday, but he's trending. He is trending, folks. He's up to 900 OPS. He had a little dip, but then he's rolling back up there. This guy's a monster. I've been saying it from the beginning. He's got that Schwarber profile, but arguably more pop, if you believe it or not, to all fields. I love this guy. Tremendous on base guy. 428 on base percentage this year. Really, really good. You're right. Baseball After Dark should be baseball and wine. That's a good point. That is a good point. And the best admin crew around in Discord. Good point, Spectre. I forgot to give you that shout out. Tips to get better with your slider. It depends on what type of slider you're trying to throw. One with a big break or one with a short break. I'll give you some advice for the one with the short break. For the one with the short break, like a gyro slider, what you should try to do is throw it as hard as you can from about 80 feet, 70 to 80 feet, so beyond the mound. So further than the actual mound. And the idea behind it is to throw it and keep it as straight as possible out of your hand. You actually want to throw it as much like a fastball as you can. Cue fastball as well as you can and let it roll off your finger and create that late movement with the slider. The mound itself, the angle itself is going to help you with the slider, but you need to train intent when you're trying to throw the short slider. So train that by throwing it and getting through the ball as much as possible. So that is my answer to that question. Sophomore slump for Kurtz. Hit hard, under 1,000 OPS. So sad to see the drop off. Dude, this guy's amazing. Last couple games, home runs in both of them, so let's watch it. Versus the Cardinals. Guy's a beast. Cardinals, A's. Love you. I'll see you at baseball. All right, Cardinals, A's. St. Louis Cardinals. I mentioned they've been the surprise team, I think, of the year so far. But to me, there's no surprise with Nick Kurtz. We should also look at Bolte while we're here as well. So here's the two hits from 2 nights ago. This is a left-on-left at-bat versus Liberatore. Bases loaded, grand slam coming here. This was a game shifter. And he's got a 37-game on-base streak.
You got to be ready to hit the heater. 1-1 pitch.
Ooh, sinker off the back foot. How'd you even do that? Timeout. How'd you even do this, Nick? My Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Ooh, front foot. Ow! That really hurt. That stunk. All right, so 1-2 count. Liberatore, who's been pitching well, is going to try to get him here. Slider down. No bite. Fastball, 96. Fouled away. Here comes the slider. Don't hang it. Oh, and he hung it, and he just flicked it out to left. That is donkey power. He didn't even swing hard. He didn't even swing hard. I know it's in the Cracker Jack box. 100.3 at 30 out in sack. But he didn't even swing hard, and he goes Oppo Taco grand slam. This guy's unreal. This guy's a monster beast. I mean, again, he didn't even swing hard at this.
2-2. Fly ball deep center field. Scott going back. Leaping try.
All right, and the key thing I want you to watch with Kurtz at the plate is his hands. The hands are in such a pro position, And I think this is what makes him so unbelievable at delivering opposite field power. They're already up. Even when he gets into his stance, he just kind of naturally lets them stay there. And then he's already in his launch position. So he can catch the ball back from anywhere from here all the way to here in his swing and do damage. But he's also just a big, strong Pennsylvania man. And he takes that crap Oppo Taco for a grand slam. So that's the first hit I wanted to watch. Here is the next hit he gets, also left on left versus Brujil, Justin Brujil. And this one is a sinker in that he gets inside and smashes it out down the line for another hit. So to me, it's his ability to use the whole field with power and authority. That's why I call him young Jim Thome. And to me, that's the comp. So there's a line drive yesterday. So it's an Oppo home run and Oppo double. And then let's see. I mean, this was 2 days ago. And then let's see what he did yesterday. I think also I think there might be some more left on left here. No, this is McGreevy. So McGreevy, first at bat, he's going to clip him for a homer. McGreevy's been very good. Sub-1 whip. We've talked about that, despite being like a 90-mile-an-hour pitcher. So fastball, ball one, and fastball home run. Another absolute mammo to left center. That's on top of the roof of the clubhouses. That one was 112, 111.8. God, he's so good. Not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people can kaboom a ball to left center at this type of exit velo. It's just silly. And I love that he bats leadoff given his on-base percentage in front of Langoliers. Also, check out wait till you see the Amish as he comes around second, churning the butter celebration. Here he comes. Churning the butter, churning it. Here's just look at that swing from the side. Man, that's authority right there. Couple people here in the cut that I want to acknowledge. Daniel Descalzo, my guy. There's Ollie. Chris Conroy, one of the best trainers ever. Adam Olson, who's with him, another great trainer. But this is my guy right here, Descalzo. And he knows right off the bat this ball's gone. Wham! He immediately looks at somebody like, are you kidding me with that swing? That ball was destroyed. So there is a homer. He's also going to get a walk and another hit here versus Jojo Romero. Left on left. He hits righties. He hits lefties. This is a floater. He got lucky here. This is a poor play by whoever's in left. Church picked it. But he also drew his walk. So anyway, Kurtz, we don't need to watch any more of that, but he has been a monster. Here are his StatCast numbers. Once again, he's 99th percentile, hitting the ball hard. Also 91st percentile in chase. When you look at guys like Murakami, and you look at guys like Schwarber, and you look at guys like Spencer Jones, and you look at guys like Bryce Eldridge, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it's all about the chase percentage. This is also an important metric here to think about too. And now I'm not saying this is for everyone, but he can do it because he's a donkey. Fourth furthest back contact point among qualified hitters, meaning he catches it really deep. But that's because he has the ability to see it deep and drive it for power out to left. We've talked a lot in this program about how people need to catch balls out front to get their power involved, to hit pull side homers. So to me, that's a big part of it, is just the fact that he doesn't have to create it. He can see the ball deep, which means his decision point can be later, and that allows him to chase less, and it all feeds each other. It all feeds each other. But it takes a lot of trust to swing like this when they're telling everybody else to pull the ball. James Wood's a great comp for him. Him and James Wood, similar in that they have that special oppo power ability. And yeah, he's a big white left-handed hitting first baseman, so I compare him to Jim Thome, but that's what Jim Thome did, 600 homers. So I love Nick Kurtz. I think he's a monster, and that's where we're at with him. All right, back to the shot. There was a good question in here. Adam Ottavino, hey, for every Subway series you were in attendance for as a Yankee or a Met, which individual series or game was my favorite? It's funny. Most of the teams I was on really dominated the Subway series. I mean, of course, there were some losses in there. I remember I got beat by the Mets one time. I was out there with the Yankees. We had just come back from London, and I really pitched poorly. I remember I gave up a big hit to Wilson Ramos. Maybe Michael Conforto got a big hit off of me in a game. That was kind of disappointing. But other than that, I mean, what really stands out is I had a really good outing in 2022, Yankees versus Mets. I was a Met and pitched really well against the Yankees. Had some strikeouts. Donaldson, Higashioka. I struck out DJ to end the game. I was throwing 96. I pitched like more than one inning, and I felt really good about that outing. So that was probably for me. In terms of the atmosphere, like it's always electric. I mean, it's nothing better than Subway Series. You know, huge rivalry. It's just great. It's great in both venues. So big fan of the rivalry games, especially Subway Series. I think is a really, really good one. And we're getting all the rivalry games this week right now. Rivalries. Some of them may have to create one, but you know, either way. Do you throw the right pitch with no confidence or the wrong pitch with conviction? Wrong pitch with conviction. You've heard a lot of pitchers talk about this, but if you don't believe in your pitch, it's not going to be successful, even if it's the on-paper right pitch to the batter. You have to throw everything you have with conviction. So if you're a young kid out there, believe in whatever pitch you choose, and you go with it. You can reevaluate later, but in the moment, you have to be 100% committed and convicted in throwing that pitch. To me, that's the proper answer. And my guy is in here. All right. What was I gonna say? Don't remember. Was it Ranger Suarez versus his old team? I like watching Ranger mainly because he's just so interesting in the way he goes about it. Now, I know both people pitched well. Luzardo pitched well. He got a nice bounce back outing, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. But Ranger, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, and the way he pitches is so awesome and so fun to watch. So I want to watch that, and then we'll watch the big home run by Schwarber in this game, and then we'll probably move on to some prospect stuff after this, unless there's something else really pressing that I'm missing. Okay, Ranger Suarez. Let's see the breakdown on Ranger. 26 sinkers, 13 cutters, 13 four-seamers, 12 curveballs, 9 changeups, 3 sliders, averaged 91 on his sinker and 93 on his four-seam. That's by far the best velocity he's had on the year. Check that out. That's amazing to see. Got actually pretty good amount of whiff for Ranger, which is odd. So that's a very encouraging development if you're a Red Sox fan, even though I know they lose this game. So Philly and Boston. Ranger Suarez. All right, let's watch him get his outs. First out of the game is a changeup to Trey Turner. It's also cool because this was against his old team. First start versus his old team. The much maligned Caleb Durbin with a tremendous play. After review, they call him out. Look at Durbin with the little whirly bird 1-hop throw. Suarez comp is old Braves Glavine. Yeah, kind of in a way. Yeah. Pitchability. Changing speeds, command. There's a strikeout of Schwarber on a curveball. That's nasty. That's a nice curveball to Schwarbs. 0 for 5 with 3 Ks now. Actually, 0 for 6 with 3 Ks after that at bat. And then he's going to get Bryce out. Oh, in the rain. Left on left changeup. Bryce line drive caught by Wilson. So that's it for the first. Second inning. First pitch out on a cutter to Adolis. Has Adolis been playing any better lately? I'd like to know. Haven't watched a ton of Phillies. Nice play there by IKF. Here's a called strike 3 front door sinker to Alec Boehm. Great pitch. He thinks that's a ball. And that thing is completely in the zone. Also, this tells the story. All right, check this out. Look on the left in the strike zone. That's the sequence of pitches. Everything's away, away, away. And then he goes, this is called flooding one side of the plate. He flooded the outside corner. And then he went and switched the plate. We call switching the plate, and you go ball to strike with the sinker. And they have no awareness of that inside corner now that they've been over there, now that they've been looking out over. And that's what you see there. You see Alec Boehm completely confused about how this is a strike. Man, and he did this in the rain. Boehm's like, are you serious? But he didn't have the guts to challenge it. All right, 2 outs, nobody on. Here's Brandon Marsh, who's been a batting average champ this year. Ground ball up the middle. Story takes that, and that's it for the second inning. Third inning, strikeout of JT on a curveball. Who is your favorite lefty reliever this year? Has to be Tim Hill for me. I'm very partial to my guy Brooks Raley, but I also like Tim Hill quite a bit. Who else? Left-handed reliever that I like right now. I gotta think about that a little bit. All right, nice curveball there to JT. Always interesting when you face your catcher, your former catcher who you worked with, and they kind of know how you think and what you favor. I remember being very worried about that when I faced Nick Hundley after one of my career years. Then he went to the Giants, and I thought, oh, he'll be on to me, but then I ended up doing fine, so I think I overthought that a little bit. Anyway, here's a cutter in on the hands to, what's this big boy's name again? Yeah, Felix Reyes. And then another called strike 3, front door sinker to Sosa. Another perfect pitch. Oh, he thought about challenging it, but he didn't have the guts, and it's a good thing he didn't because that's strike 3. So same deal as what he did to Bohm. You got to appreciate the precision of Ranger Suarez. He's so nasty. Oh, yeah, Tanner Scott's been pretty good this year, too. Chappie or Tanner Scott are good picks. Little cutter in on the hands to Trey. First out of the 4th. This is how you pitch, you know, with command. Little backdoor sinker beats Schwarb's there. So he punches Schwarb out the first 2 times. And here's the first walk. Ooh, Garcia's getting worse. So that's not a good sign. All right, good take there by Harp for the walk. And then he's going to get Adolis out here. Old school crafty lefty. Love to watch him when he's on. Me too, and that's why I picked him today because, you know, he's not out here doing Jacob Mizorowski stuff. He's out here doing Ranger Suarez stuff, and it's super effective. Sinker down, beating the ground. Done with the 4th. 5th inning. He's going to give up a leadoff hit here to Bohm on a cutter in. Chops it through the hole perfectly, so fits it through that little hole there for a leadoff hit. And then 3-pitch strikeout of Marsh. Curveball in dirt. Catcher wants it in dirt. Ranger throws it in dirt. Beautiful pitch there. First out of the inning. Here is JT. Going to get a hit on a curveball. Way to stay on that curveball. It's a good job by JT. They don't advance because of the hose of Willier out there. So first and second. 1 out. Let's watch how he wiggles out of the rest of this inning. Change up here to Felix Reyes' first pitch. And then curveball here. It's going to be a hit. So he gets himself into a bases loaded 1-out situation. In the rain. It's been a little bit of a grindy start at times. Let's see what he does here versus Edmundo Sosa. First pitch cutter up and fouled back. Gets above the barrel. Now they're going to double down on that approach. Try to get it further in. They do, and they get him to swing off the plate in. Very good job. As soon as he got ahead 0-1, he starts playing the I know you want to be the hero game, so I'm going to make you be aggressive. I'm going to get into an area for Chase, and that's what he does, and he gets to 0-2. Now we can kind of play with him. Change up down. Waves at it. That's actually a good foul ball. Cutter now again. Backdoor attempt for freeze. Just misses down, and now they're going to go change up off of that and get the strikeout. So very nice sequence here by Ranger. Totally outthinks Sosa right there for the strikeout. Gets himself 1 out away from getting out of it. Here's Trey Turner. Sinker down, swing and miss over the top. Ooh, good pitch to hit there, but he kind of jammed himself. 0-2. 4-seam coming. Slashes that out of play. Curveball coming. Great take. Good pitch, great take. And then strike 3. Beautiful backdoor cutter. Trey goes for the challenge. That ball's completely in the zone. Another unbelievable freeze where he knows exactly how he can get out of jail without getting a swing and miss. Perfect freeze there. He did go out for the 6th, right? Gets an out here from Schwarber on a slider. That might have been a curveball. Pops it out, and then this is his last batter. It's Bryce. Bryce is going to get a hit here, and then that's it for Ranger. So really, the only hits he gave up were little grounders that got through the hole. Other than that, he was totally in control and did a great job in this game. Now, in this game, the big at bat came in this outing right here. Tyler Samaniego, who's been outstanding this year, has given up very few runs. Ends up in a big spot here in the 8th, where he gets really the heart of the order. They use Whitlock in the 7th in this game, and he goes strikeout, pop out, strikeout in the bottom of the order, and then they go to Samaniego here in the 8th. So first, I'm going to set the stage. It is currently at this moment 0-0 in the 8th. It's been that kind of game. Luzardo pitched well. Ranger pitched well. Trey gets on with a base hit, and that brings up Kyle Schwarber, who's 0 for 3 on the day with 2 strikeouts and facing a guy who's been dealing. So let's watch this at bat. It's a 5-pitcher, and Schwarber's going to homer for, I think, the 6th straight game, and this ends up being the biggest swing of the night. Sinker up, ball 1. That's a good no chase. Here comes a cutter up. No chase there. So 2-0 count. Sinker up and away, 3-0 count. So gets himself into a bad spot here versus Schwarb. Sinker again. So he's seen 3 sinkers in the first 4 pitches. Here comes a cutter, and wham. Doesn't get it to the outer third. Schwarber head down, straight through it, hits it over his own bullpen. 110.4. He's on an absolute roll right now. He's homering in almost, pretty much every game. He's homered this whole week. Every game. 110.4 at 28. And that's what power does, you know? He's not, he's going to strike out, but he's going to get the big swing in the big moment quite often. That's what happened here from Schwarbs. And the Phillies are hot. The Phillies are rolling. They got a good thing going. They're pitching well. Wheeler's looked good. You know, when you're getting a big swing from Schwarber every night. Look at that head down on the ball, just demolished to right. I really wish the Red Sox would have brought him back after 21. I felt like that was a little bit of a mistake at that time period. He was a big level up, I thought, at that time. So let's just check in on the Schwarber Savant page one more time. It's truly amazing. Him, like I mentioned, him and Kurtz, very similar. What's the big similarity there is that chase rate being so good. Like the combination of having the ability to pummel home runs to all parts of the field, but also get your walks because you don't chase. Very good combination. He's got 18 homers already on this season. He had 56 last year. He's really turned himself into a potential Hall of Famer. He's at 358 career homers. I don't put it past him. I think he'll finish this year close to 400. So a couple more years of really good production, 3 or 4 more years, he'll get there. 33 years old, and he's been a big deal for the Phillies trying to get back into this thing as they've played really good baseball. So that's it for Schwarbs. Let me get back into the chat. This is a good point. Wish Bobby Dahlbeck panned out. See, Bobby had the power. Bobby was a similar guy to these guys, except too much chase. Swung too much out of the zone, wasn't able to force them in the zone so that his whiff could be mitigated. You know, his in-zone whiff could be mitigated because instead it was the opposite of being mitigated. It was exacerbated by his level of chase, and that's what ultimately hurt him. Bobby has as much power as anybody. Heartthrob Bob. Trace should have flipped Whitlock and Samaniego, so I'm a little confused about that too. Whitlock is clearly their high-leverage reliever other than Chapman. I'm not a fan of not using a guy in the 7th, but they had him pitch against the bottom of the order there, and I know they probably wanted Samaniego to face the Schwarber-Harper pocket. I get that. But that's a big leap of faith to go ahead and do that when you have a guy like Whitlock in the wings who pitches well against both sides. So we'll see if they continue to go that route. I'm sure that was a very analytical decision, and we'll see how that goes. Can't see Schwarber in a uniform other than Philly, which is crazy because he's played on a lot of teams. Let's not forget, he was a Cub, a legendary Cub. He was a National for a while, and he had one of the craziest stretches ever with 20 home runs in a month. Then he was a Sox, and then now he's a Philly, and we definitely do think of him as a Philly. He's been there a long time, and he'll be there a long time. Red Sox probably said, no, you aren't special enough for no trade clause or something like that. Yeah. If Pete Alonso gets into Hall of Fame, does he go in as a Met or Stearns ruin that? Curious. I don't think Stearns is on Pete's mind when he thinks about the Mets. You got to think about, he lived through, even the Wilpons before even the Cohens he was around. So he's had tons of managers, tons of GMs. At the end of the day, the fans are the ones that you connect with. And I think Pete's done a great job to connect with the Mets. He's their all-time Mets home run leader. I know Soto will break that one day, but to me, if it ended right now and he was a Hall of Famer, he'd be a Met. We'll see how this Baltimore situation progresses. So we'll see. If Pete is good enough for the O's long enough to get in the Hall, it's probably a toss-up. Yeah, probably. We talked about Benj yesterday, Jack, if you want to go back and rewatch our stuff yesterday. Doing a better job of anticipating, understanding how he's getting pitched, getting a little flatter at the top when he needs to. He's such a good all-around player. I think the swing load has slightly pared down. I'd like to see it go another couple steps in that direction, but I mean, I've been a bench fan from the beginning, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just too much movement in his swing, and we'll see how that evolves over time. I do think there's a star in there, so let's hope that that star comes out. Mr. Ottavino, your Team Italia card in the MLB The Show slaps. Makes me think with that sinker and sweeper, could you have done starting like Clay Holmes did in an alternate universe? Yeah, I had a couple issues. Number one, the base running stuff. I think that would have hurt me the most of anything as a starter. I think I had plenty of ability to be durable. I showed that in the minors. I threw plenty of innings. I was a ground ball pitcher. I could do that. Also, if teams would have stacked lefties against me, I think I could have figured that out over time. So the answer is yes, but there's some other challenges that I had that Clay doesn't have to deal with, like the base running stuff. I was really bad at that late in my career. Better at it earlier in my career when I had a quicker delivery, but that ultimately is going to be tough in this era. Anytime somebody gets on base, you got to worry about the steals, and it kind of mitigates my ability to get double plays. So that's my answer on that. How long until we get an Ottavino wine brand? We have our own wine. I actually have a barrel of wine that I get bottles shipped to from me from the Clemente Museum winery, the Engine House Wines there in Pittsburgh. But we don't sell any of those. So I don't know. Maybe in the future. All right, let's go look at some prospects, huh? You guys want to look at some prospects, some draft prospects? I'm into that. I had 3 on my list. And we might just hop through YouTube to see some of them. We have Brody Bumila, high school guy, on the list. Ace Reese and Liam Peterson. Those are both college guys. So Brody Bumila is a guy who's been throwing absolute thunder nuggets for his high school team. So let's go and find him on here. Brody Bumila. Don't have time for a youth prospects video, but I'm looking for a little bit of a highlight here. All right, here's a that's too short of a clip. Can we get a better clip? Let's see here. Well, I'll click on this for a minute.
Bishop Feehan ace Brody Bumila getting the start against one of
Bishop Feehan, this guy's a monster. He's so big. He's up to 100 miles an hour. Left-handed, chucking baseballs.
9 batters he faced. Tigers started to make some.
Reminds me a little bit of Noah Schultz
snagged by
at first glance. The White Sox rookie, giant lefty.
Strikeouts, no hits allowed. Shamrocks top the Tigers.
Power arsenal. Throwing strikeouts. Let's see what else we got here. He's 6'9". 6'9". Wonder if I can find him on Synergy at all. This is the most recent. Is this him, number 28? He doesn't look as tall in this video. Did he gain more size? That's definitely the delivery though, right? This is at like a Stars and Stripes US event. That's pretty cool. You like the Randy Johnson comp? I mean, that's the obvious one. So you're looking at like Andrew Miller, Noah Schultz. So this is 2024. Hold on, I think I have one that's a little more recent. They're both 2024. We don't have anything super recent, but he is 6'9", throwing gas. I've seen he's not projected currently in the very tippy top of the draft, because a lot of mock drafts have been coming out. This is the ESPN one right here. They had him as like an honorable mention in here. Yeah, they have him going 33rd overall. Brody Bumila, left-handed pitcher from Bishop Feehan High School in Mass to Tampa Bay Rays. But I mean, you know, 6'9", throwing hard. I don't really know a lot about him. Can't really get a good feed, but let's go to the youth prospects video.
Toughness isn't born.
Of course, we got to get through the ad, but that's okay. Wonder what Randy Johnson's mentality pitching, did he mean to look angry? I think he did. I think he was like one of those guys that needed to look angry a little bit, you know, at one point in his career. That's not him. He's going to be in the green. All right, here we go. Here's a look at Brody pitching in this game. He's the pitcher, obviously, with the green, the giant man, 6'9". You gotta love these YP videos. Very good production level, in my opinion. They have great cameras. They get out to a lot of baseball stuff. There he is. All right. What do I think? He's extremely raw. He's got something to work with the heater. You know, he's not crossbody, but he looks like to be a pretty good athlete for his size. Starting way closed before opening back up with like a 3/4 sling action. Definitely reminds me of Noah Schultz, Randy Johnson for sure. That would be the comp. Man, he's so big. Look at the size of him. Here he is again. Noah Schultz, that's what I think. Adam, have you showered today? No, showered yesterday. Not today. I'll shower later. Got some things to do. Rays will take him as a comp pick and he will dominate in 5 years. It's just like these guys are such interesting guys, you know, people that are this big. They're interesting dynamic, you know. If they can get it all in line, you know they have the levers to throw absolute cheese. He's also super young. So, like, of course he's going to be a little raw. This is, like, really one of those things where do you believe in your own pitching development team to take this guy and take him to the promised land. There's a strikeout. Not even sure what else he throws. That looked like maybe a slider. I don't know. You'll just answer anything. I'll answer anything. I don't care. So, anyway, you get the idea. He's a big boy. I know he threw a 20 strikeout no-hitter recently. That's right, Cara. I don't know, like, Gio Rojas, who's another big high school lefty in this draft who's going to go ahead of Brody more than likely. You can see the athleticism with him. You know, you can see the natural way he moves is special. Brody, it's also special because of size, but he hasn't played at the same level yet, so you're talking about a very low-level high school league out there in Massachusetts that he's dominating, even though this is St. John's Prep, which is a pretty good team. I just have to believe that he's going to be a major project, but he's already got some size to him. Like, the lower half looks a little thick. With the right development, he could be a dude for sure. So that's the first guy, Brody Bumila. The second guy I wanted to look at, what did I have on the list here? I had Ace Reese is the next one on the list. He's also very highly projected in here. Let's see where they have him. ESPN has him going 34th, one pick after Brody Bumila. Now, in some of the other mock drafts, which I've been looking at, they had Ace Reese going even higher. This is Sports Illustrated. Let's see. Wow, he's dropped off on a couple of these early ones. They don't even have him in the first round. That's crazy. What about Baseball America? Oh, don't have a subscription to that one. But anyway, Ace Reese, Mississippi State. So we'll grab him on Synergy so we can watch his at-bats. Reset, hitter. What's his real first name? Am I I missing it here? Oh, I think I spelled it wrong. Ace, R-E-E-S-E. I did R-E-E-C-E. There he is. There he is. We got him. So is Ace his real name? His parents name him Ace? That's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. All right, so Mississippi State. Ball in play result. 38 extra base hits this year. 20 doubles, 18 home runs. So let's see the extra base hits. 38 clips. Would you consider ripping a few immaculate grids or guess the swing on stream? Yeah, we've done the guess the swing thing before, and it was a fun exercise. We can do more of that. So there's a home run not caught by the player there. All right, let me dig in. Let me get a look at him. All right, a little bit of a crouch in the stance.
That one's fair down the line. It was past Bingham, and it caroms off the wall.
Kick off the wall.
Right. Stand up double to lead off the.
Bia has Bumila going 18th to the Reds. He's an interesting one because you can see the upside there, but you know, you have to be pretty confident. You know, high school pitching tends to be a little risky. All right, there's a double. So seeing a home run and 2 doubles. Left on left here. I don't love that swing that much, but that ball really carried. That's an Oppo Taco. Kind of a weird swing. He definitely ejects his top hand off the bat really quick with a one-hand finish. Another left on left here. It looks like the power's just easy, though. I don't feel like he's swinging that hard, and that went way back left on left. Ace is a better name than 7. Hey, Max, I am quite good. I'm happy to be here. Hit that like button, guys. Less than 80 away from 10,000 now, so we're definitely creeping up. Named my son Fungible to teach him about managing expectations. That's funny. Is Reese known as a good defender too? I'd be curious to see. Here he is. I mean, he's got like this swing where he's like barely swinging and the ball's going. I'm a little intrigued by this. This is a guy that you might have to watch on more of a daily basis to get a good read on. But 38 extra base hits is no joke. That time he used 2 hands and he went and got a pitch up and away. That was a nice swing. Oop, sniper out there in the outfield. My wife's on it. 10K is cool, but we want 100K. Yeah, we'll get there someday. Now the swing's looking better. That's a good swing right there. Down in. Look at the atmosphere at these games, by the way. That's pretty cool. Definitely you have an advantage in terms of like playing in front of big crowds and getting used to a lot of people watching you if you played in the SEC. That's for sure. Oh, breaking ball in the middle. That ball's crushed.
That ball is gone. A no-doubter from Ace Reese.
I'm going to be able to go all the way because then I can't really tell.
Left on left here. Yeah, that's that one-handed finish, but I think that just helps him create some more length in the swing when needed. Seems to have a knack for putting the barrel on the ball. I mean, granted, we're watching all his best hits, but I mean, I'm not seeing a crazy amount of bat speed, I don't think. I think I'm watching more of a very accurate barrel placement. Pops a home run here.
That one kept carrying and carrying.
What do the top 10 draft picks look like? Well, we've looked at a lot of them. You know, Rock, Emerson, Flora, Lackey, Reese is in the mix. Cameron Flukie, who's a pitcher from Coastal. A lot of these guys we've looked at. Jacob Lombard. There's a lot of very interesting prospects this year. It should be a good draft. You know, Rock Chalowski and Grady Emerson, though, or is it Colt Emerson? Whatever the Emerson is, those guys are definitely separating themselves, though, at the top from what I've seen right now. Also, I like Stroh-Snyder's swing better than Ace Reese's swing for me, but he plays an outfield position where I think Ace plays an infield position. So that's just based off of pure aesthetics and just what I like in a swing and what I've seen so far. But not to say this is a bad swing. It's fine. I just really like Stroh-Snyder's swing a lot. I also need to watch the dude from LSU, Derek Curiel, at some point. Colt Emerson already got the bag, so it's a different Emerson. It's Grady Emerson, one of those. Ace is an elite baseball name. How is he not a pitcher, though? Good question. Right up on him says he might end up moving off third to first. Okay, so not a great defender prospect. And yes, Justin LeBron has been falling down rankings quite a bit because he's had a pretty poor year statistically this year at Alabama. Still hit a bunch of homers, and they like him a lot. Yeah, it's Grady in the draft, yeah. I definitely like Ace over Hakopian. For me, off of aesthetics. Hakopian, for me, was the least impressive swing, body, athlete. I know he's been very productive that I've seen. He plays for A&M that I've seen so far watching these. But I'm definitely, I'd take Ace over him for sure, based off what I'm watching right now. And in a minute, we're going to watch a pitcher, Liam Peterson from Florida, who's also one of the highly rated pitchers. You know, he's somebody that somebody's going to take because he's considered more polished than most of the other guys in the draft. So we'll check up on him in a minute. One more. We'll look at one more swing here. Vandy versus Mississippi State, left on left, breaking ball down in, Scoop City. See you later. So you can see it. This guy's been tremendous. He's been raking. Mississippi State kid. So we get a little peek at Ace Reese. Reset there. And then pitcher, we want to look at Liam Peterson, I believe his name is. No. Yep, there he is. Liam Peterson, University of Florida. Apply. You think Lackey should be 1-1 but won't. It's interesting because the you know, at 1-1 a college, you might actually want to draft for need, and with the White Sox having Teal out there, they might not need a catcher, but they also don't need a shortstop necessarily either with Colson, so it's a good question. All right, 2026 University of Florida, Liam Peterson. Games. So we have a lot of his recent games on here. His most recent one was a loss, University of Kentucky, University of Florida. So he's faced Kentucky, Oklahoma, A&M, Auburn, Georgia. I know his stats haven't been as great this year, but he's considered to have big-time stuff. I think looks like he's been getting beat in a lot of these games, to be honest with you. All right, let's check him out in this game. University of Kentucky, University of Florida. 98 pitches. So here he is, Liam Peterson. That's 98 miles an hour right there, is the first thing I noticed. Holy cow. Pretty easy delivery. There's a gyro slider. It's going to be a base hit. I'm just going to watch a little bit here of this first inning. Kind of a short stride, but he's throwing very hard, 97 miles an hour. It is interesting, though, that you're not dominating college baseball throwing 97, 98. There's a curveball. I like that. So he's looking already like a little bit of a north-south guy. Four-seam slider curveball, high arm slot. But with definitely a good fastball. The stuff is grading well from everything I've read about this guy. So, you know, some teams are going to take him. Wow, completely falls off the mound there. That was scary.
For a long time here on this Saturday, 2-1.
What position should the Mets pick at 27? It doesn't matter. It's best player available. Best player available at that time. He's had a rough year, but I still like him. He was in the 1-1 convo last year originally, Peterson. You can see he's an elite sequencer. It's a short stride. Ball comes flying out of hand. High release. That should allow him to face both righties and lefties. We've had some examples of guys that aren't, you know, dominant in college, and then they become dominant guys. You know, Brian Wu, etc. Plenty of other guys. So I'm not going to hold that against him because he struggled a little bit this year. You know, clearly he's got good stuff, although it does look like, from what I'm watching in this outing,
Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
you know, maybe it's not playing quite the way you would expect. That's a nice curveball, though. I like his curveball.
Amazing turnaround. Plenty of room out here in the game.
There's a fly out.
Yost is playing center.
Any teams near the top so cheap they might avoid top-level slot players, shades of Brian Bullington. Usually that's a debate at the very top. I'm not sure who's in that boat this year, but usually you do see that from time to time.
Guessing game.
You know, stuff like that. Like teams trying to get a little bit of a discount, and then they can draft another high-level prospect below that and spend that money in their pool on that player. Now you have two plus level players. So, does college incentivize pitching a different way than pro ball? My thoughts are trying to pitch to whiffs more with metal bats. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. You know, strikeouts are always king, and in a scenario with college hitters with these juiced bats and everything, maybe you think about striking out a few more guys. But I don't know. I mean, really at this high level, you have pretty good defenses behind you. You probably have as good of a defense in the SEC as you have in AA. So I wouldn't be worried about him too much in terms of if he's trying to pitch to contact or something. All right, so the fastball looks very true. I would say it's probably got a little perceived cut. I like the curveball a lot. So he's got good arm talent. And he's already got a kind of a north-south identity. Interesting that was spit on, though. So now you would think low freeze fastball here. Let's see what they go with. Another curveball. That might be even a slider. That's 88 with excellent tilt. I'm liking the stuff I'm seeing. There's that low freeze. I mean, that's lower than low, but he gets it at 97. He's also been sitting 96, 98 in this game, which is pretty cool.
Popped it up. Hayden Yost. Every relationship dating back over a decade.
Oh, you gotta love the old show bunt. I have no intention of swinging. Still holding his velo, 96, 97 here in the third. So it's funny because we watched Cameron Flukie recently. Flukie's rated higher than him. He's had more success at Coastal. But from a pure delivery pitch standpoint, I like Peterson better. I know he's not succeeding as much right now, but I like Peterson better from my eye test. Don't like him better than Flora, but I think I like him better than Flukie.
2-1 to Bell. Toward Curlin here at second.
The one I really liked was that one, who's he from? Oregon State? Dax? Killed something like that? There's some dude that got Tommy John, but he was electric early in the year. Not going to be drafted this year, but interesting either way. All right, I'll watch one more batter. And then we'll kick it down we'll kick the can down the road, and we will, man, that curveball is getting hit, even though it's nasty. 85. We'll do probables and all stuff like that. Dax Whitney, that's the one that I was in love with watching early in the season, but now he got Tommy John. I don't think he was drafted eligible this year, was he? I was in love with him, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Peterson. I mean, he's missing his location a little bit on his breaking balls popping out a little bit early, but I understand his game. North-south, really good fastball. I like his delivery, honestly. I think he'll be all right. Oh, yeah, Dax Kilby's the Yankees guy. That's right. Is Mets catcher Kevin Pareda a bust? Too early to say. I'm not going to write him off. I mean, shit, I was considered a bust, and I still had played for 15 years in the big leagues, so we'll see. But he definitely hasn't been what they thought he was going to be out of Georgia Tech. Yeah, no changeup so far unless I've missed it. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet either. I'm trying to hang in there for another batter here to see if I can see something good. Found some Booth video for next time. I'll send you in DM. You know, we could go ahead and try to watch Booth for a second on YouTube too, since we missed him the other day. I'm curious about Booth. EJ Booth. All right, after this, there's the changeup. So there's the first one, 84. Little changeup down. This is the first changeup we've seen. I like it. Good fade. I actually really like Peterson's stuff. So despite the results this year, I think I'm high on Peterson. I think I'm high on Liam Peterson for sure. All right. This time I'm going to go back to... I'm going to circle back to YouTube. We're going to look at EJ Booth. He'll be the last one. So we got four different prospects to look at today. All right. This is just some swings. So after this ad, we'll watch some swings from the side. Change has some depth to it. Maybe you should use it more. I don't disagree with you. All right, here he is. The big prospect, E.J. Booth. Lefty, built like a tank. You can already see that. Tremendous athlete. Ooh, has a little bit of that Nick Kurtz in his hands set up. I'm seeing a little bit of, ooh, that was a little choppy of a swing. I'm seeing a little bit of Michael Harris. Hands come down a little bit. And then it's a very flat swing. So it's interesting. Drops the hands, then comes through flat swing. But you can tell this guy's going to have massive exit velo. He's a moose out there. Here he is in right field. And just kind of lob Johnsoning the ball into home there. Another member of USA Baseball. Committed to Vanderbilt, huh? All right, what else? We got any more visuals of this guy swinging it? This is 2 years ago, so I don't want to pop that. This is an interview, so I don't want to pop that. All right, well, we'll click on his youth prospects video. It's weird. Did I watch some of this already? All right, let's watch him hit. Looks like he got a little bit bigger, too. "28 years old, locking in on chasing the ultimate dream as a pitcher. One piece of genuine life advice. Thanks. It's just like stack good days. Don't negotiate with yourself. You know, come up with a plan and stay committed to it. And just try to have one great day at a time, one great day of growth at a time. Also, remember the mental controls the physical. To me, that's one of my biggest things that I always talk about is your mind ultimately controls what your body will do. So learn to control your thoughts, you'll learn to control your body, and the rest will follow. AO, would you be in favor of teams trading top 10 draft picks? Yes, I think that you should be able to trade picks in baseball. They do it in other sports. Those picks have a lot of value. That would be an interesting road to improving for certain teams. All right, so that was it. We just got to see him swing it a little bit. And then that was it for E.J. Booth, Eric Booth Jr. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Here's a short of him hitting a walk-off to win some derby here in San Diego. Very level swing. So in a way, I kind of like that, but I have to see him against the best competition. He looks like a linebacker. So you know this guy's a beast. All right. Let me get back in here. What's something you can tell a young player till you're blue in the face, but can only be understood with experience? I think the biggest thing is like that the work never stops. Like you never get to a destination where you can just like coast. Like, hey, I'm good enough and I can just coast. The thing about baseball is they make it you have to re-earn it every time. So there's always problems to solve. And if anything, like the checklist of things you have to do gets longer and longer as you go in your career. And I think a lot of people think, man, if I can just get here, then I'm on easy street. But the reality is there's no such thing as easy street in baseball. Like you always have to figure it out over time. And that's something that experience teaches you. And you probably have that realization, a couple years into the majors. A lot of guys are like, man, like I have to even double down on my efforts even more. Like there's nothing about this that's getting easier. I have to keep figuring it out. So I guess that's the biggest thing. All right, EJ Booth, what do you think here, Carl? Think he could be a bat like Tamar Johnson, very athletic, but hasn't panned out. I think Tamar is still a relatively decent prospect. And one last thing that we can do here, and I'll do that now, is they just re-ranked all the prospects. You know, very cool that they just re-ranked all the prospects. The whole top 100 has just changed. Jesus Mate is our #1 prospect now in baseball. Well-deserved. 19 years old, tearing it up in Double-A, just like his contemporary Leo DeVries of the A's, who was the Mason Miller trade piece. Those are the top 2. Seth Hernandez has jumped all the way into the top 3 now with his electric start to the minor leagues, destroying low A. Now he's in high A. Here's the rest of our top 10 at the moment, according to Baseball America. Eli Willits, Trey Savage, Colt Emerson, Cade Anderson, who was a big mover for the Mariners, Max Clark, Jose DePaula of the Dodgers, and Sebastian Walcott of the Rangers. Other big risers, Franklin Arias moved up quite a bit. Man, some of these teams are well represented. Zaire Hope of the Dodgers, so they have 2 outfielders in the top 20. Mariners have 2 players in the top 7, which is good to see. But we were just talking about who? Tamar Johnson. I want to say he's still he hasn't panned out yet, but I want to say he's still a relatively decent prospect, right? Still number 5. He's in AAA. He's only 21 years old. 5'7", 201. These are the current grades. His 50s across the board, 45. So he was the top pure hitter in the high school draft, but he hasn't really dominated the minors like they expected. How's he hitting in AAA this year? Not good. 173, through 110 ABs, 283, 209. So getting owned at the highest level right now of the minors. No home runs, hitting his first real patch of struggle. He hasn't been accelerating the way as some of the others have, right out of the draft. But he did put up a 752 OPS last year with a bunch of extra base hits. Looks like about 35 extra base hits, a lot of walks. So there was some encouragement in there. I mean, that's why he's still rated highly. But yeah, he's run into a little bit of trouble here in AAA, which is interesting. Still early, but yeah, not good right now. Not good in AAA. Why is Tibbs so low? I guess Tibbs is getting hit a little bit with the bias against the swing and miss in his game. Where do they have Tibbs rated overall? I don't think he's even is he not even a top 100 prospect? This is sort of what happened to yeah, he's the 10th rated prospect in the Dodgers system. Huge power guy, like he's looked good coming over, but he's also had some prolonged stretches of struggle as well. I mean, he's having a good year in AAA right now, 988 OPS, so he's going to get a chance with the Dodgers, but for whatever reason, James Tibbs not rated as high as some of these other guys. They have an embarrassment of riches in the outfield. Beyond Tibbs, Davalan, Sirota, former Northeastern guy. Then they also have the 3 I talked about before, Quintero, Hope, and DePaula. So Dodgers have a ton of dudes. In the outfield positions that are rated very high, although not even in the top 100 for Tibbs is kind of crazy. Crazy. These lists like the high floors, right? I think they like the high ceilings. I think a high floor helps, but I think the high ceiling is what usually gets you to pop at the very, very top, at the very, very top. So many guys, and they're all raking for the Dodgers. Dodgers are all set in the outfield. Somebody's going to pop and become a stud out of that group, and that's going to be great because that's one less guy they have to pay, and then they can keep paying everybody else. And I think they're going to be in a great spot, and it really is incredible, to your point here, Jay Farrell, what they've been able to do with their farm, considering they don't even get a first-round pick most years. So, pretty nuts. All right, this has been a good thing. I'm on the air in 15 minutes, so I got to get off here. So we're going to hit the probables now, and then I'll go ahead and get the timestamps up there, and then we'll go from there. And that'll be it. This has been a fun stream. Thanks for tuning in with me on all the channels, MLB, my YouTube channel, my TikTok, pretty much everything. All right, here are our matchups for today, Friday, May 15th. I mentioned a lot of the matchup games. This is the rivalry game. So this is a Pennsylvania one. Phillies and the Pirates. You got Nola and Ashcraft, who's been awesome for the Pirates, toeing the slab today. I gotta put this in here, of course, from Spec. All right, Orioles, Nats. That's the Beltway, right? Beltway series. Maybe that's not Beltway. It's something. It's those. They're right there in the Mid-Atlantic. Orioles, Nationals. Shane Baz, Zach Littell. Blue Jays, Tigers. So right across the lake there. You Savage and Hannafy, another bullpen day for the Tigers. Man, Tigers are in a bad spot. Tigers are in a bad spot. Can you live stream on IG the whole time? I don't know. Reds and Guardians. Andrew Abbott, Tanner Bybee. This is the Ohio matchup. Here's the Florida matchup. Marlins and Rays. Jansen Junk, Jesse Schultens. Milwaukee and Minnesota, who always gets matched up here. Like that northern Midwest section. TBA for the Brewers. Joe Ryan for the Twins. Sox Braves, they just kind of invented this rivalry. Connolly Early and Spencer Strider, who looked great the last time. So very excited to see him and how he looks in his first game at Truist Park this year. That's a good matchup. Early Strider. This is the one I'll be glued in, of course. Schlittler, Clay Holmes. This is honestly the two best pitchers on each team so far this season. So very interested to see how this one goes. The first matchups of this battle, the Subway Series this year, are in Queens. Mets are hot. Yankees not so much. We'll see what comes out of that. Cubbies and White Sox. Battle of Chicago. Cabrera and Sean Burke. Battle of Texas. Then the boot is on the line. Rangers, Astros. Jack Leiter, Spencer Arrighetti. Leiter is so close to making the leap. It's insane. Royals. Damn, I didn't click that. There it is. Michael Wacha and the Cardinals. Michael Wacha and the Royals versus the Cardinals. So this is the I-70 or something. This is the Missouri Showdown. Wacha and Dustin May. Diamondbacks, Rockies. That's sort of like, Southwest, I guess. Rivalry. Merrill Kelly and Kyle Freeland. Then you got the Freeway Series. Dodgers, Angels. Blake Snell, Jack Shanowitz. I think Snell's going to pitch well tonight. Then you got Padres and Mariners. They invented this one too. Randy Vasquez, Emerson Hancock. Then you have the Bay Area Showdown is our final game of the night. Tyler Mahle and Aaron Savale. So that's it for today's show. I will be on MLB Now in 15 minutes. Actually, 9 minutes. So don't be afraid to catch me on that. I'll be talking more Kyle Harrison and a couple other things. Thank you so much, everybody who joined me today. Oh, yeah, they call that the Vetter Cup. Good point. Good point. Thanks for all the subs. We're getting close to 10,000. I will see you tomorrow night for Baseball After Dark, all right? Have a good night, everybody. See you guys later.